Welcome everybody to Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network for the fourth race meeting, I should say, of the World GT Championship. We started off the season stateside at Watkins Glen and Road America before heading to Sebring for a endurance race, but now we're back to the traditional free 20-minute sprint races around one of the tightest circuits on the calendar. Home of the Japanese Grand Prix, and there's going to be plenty of bumping and boring in these superly quick GT cars over the next few hours or so. The championship is pretty close after three race meetings, but it's the Ferrari of Sindre Setsas that has the early advantage. He has got a 21-point lead over Christian Rose in second. Ferrari versus Porsche is the battle there. Kai Jansen is in third for Core Sim Racing in the Ford GT, with Josh Thompson in fourth for CQR Race Hub. Jamie Rushworth is in fifth in the Porsche 911. Fitstyle Motorsports' Michael Evdoka is leading a three-way tie for sixth, with Michael Hall and Ben Hackerson all joining him on 305 points. And then it's Daniel McCauley ninth and Dion Phillips in 10th. Over in the AM category, it is even closer. Adam Hedgecock leads Mark Woodhouse by 9 points, and then it's a 10-point deficit back to Michael Blake in third, Roland Moon's fourth, and Joan Kaiser in the first of the Ferraris in fifth. The top four in the AM category dominated by Porsches. Over in the team standings, still pretty close there. CQR Race with a slender 9-point lead over Core Sim Racing, and as we'll update you over the course of the evening, 9 points in this series pretty much is nothing at all. You will have to go a bit of a way back to find CQR Sim Sports, who are in third. They are just over, or I should say just under, 230 points away. Then it's CQR GT 40 behind them, and then the first of the AM teams, it is Smile Time Racing in fifth. Well, as we get ready for the qualifying session to get underway here at Suzuka, we'll welcome you in. I'm Adam Bath, and joining me for this one, it's Sam Fitzpatrick. And Sam, welcome to Suzuka. We're in the Far East and getting set for the free 20-minute races. I know we've definitely got the format nailed for this one, and should be good here around the famous circuit here in Japan.
Yeah, it's just with apologies for that. I think my connection just went down for a moment, but yeah, should be a great race. Suzuka is one of those circuits where pretty much not a poor corner on the entire circuit. It's just so much fun for these drivers, and I think it really suits these GTEs well. High downforce, of course, and they're going to need all of that downforce today. Not the easiest circuit necessarily to overtake round, but I think that's just going to increase the racing. Could have some pretty large packs up there. Would be very good fun.
Yeah, get the technical gremlins out the way. I thought it was me for a second that was having the issues. I think we'll just blame Discord for that one, I think. But yeah, here we are at Suzuka. We can run you through some of the things you may not know about this series. Qualifying is pretty important here. You only get a point for pole for race 1. Race 2 and 3, the grid for that is set by a reverse grid, which we are looking forward to bringing back. We haven't had that in a few weeks, in fact, because last week we had a week off. 2 weeks ago it was the Sebring Enduro race where we don't have the reverse grid, and 3 weeks ago was the actual last time we used it, so we're looking forward to bringing that back out. If you get a pole position, which we'll bring you in a moment, the qualifying session is about to get underway. You get 2 points. If you lead a lap in this championship, you get 2. If you set a fastest lap as well, you get 2 bonus points as well. And if you get a no incident bonus, you do get 5 points in a sprint race. So should be interesting there. Very interesting in terms of the calendar that we've had so far, Sam, because we started off the season at the Glen, pretty narrow there. We saw some insane incidents. Same too for Road America last week, and then we were at the traditional Sebring for the Enduro race, which in places was pretty narrow. And here we are at Suzuka again, which has little to no runoff area there. In fact, most of the runoff area here is gravel and then a tyre barrier. So once again, if you do make a mistake here, you're definitely going to run the risk of damaging the car, especially if you try to make an interesting move, we should say, going through 130R.
Yeah, definitely that would be a risky place to get the overtake done as the drivers just come down to the pit lane. I always love seeing these cars coming out of the pits. It's always quite cool to see them all jostling for position. Ever so important they get a good banker in, and then of course building that as the session goes on. It is quite a long lap round here. I think it's about a 2-minute lap for these drivers. And yeah, like you said before, the lack of runoff. The organisers, I said this last week, but the organisers do a great job with the track selection. They're not, you know, obscure circuits which don't fit these cars. They're kind of good, fun circuits, which are definitely a challenge. And you can see the good old gravel around this circuit. Not much room around this S's section whatsoever. Could be an issue on the first lap. There is a couple of tarmac errors, of course, on the exit of 130. I think there's a little bit of tarmac, but apart from that, it should be a very good challenge, and I think we keep that up for the rest of the championship. Next up, we head to Monza. So yeah, another kind of old school circuit, and then Le Mans, which will be pretty cool. So yeah, the good races just keep on coming.
Yeah, the Cathedral of Speed, Monza next week. We're here at Suzuka for tonight's one. Hopefully you're enjoying the action we've had so far as the cars begin their outlaps now. Looking here at Christian Rose, currently sat in second place in the championship, highest of the Porsches. He hasn't got a win yet this season. He has been on the podium twice, claimed 5 top 10s along the way as well. He'll be eager to get a win on the board tonight, and with 3 races he'll be eager to do it. But for the drivers at the front of the championship, Sam, this is their bread and butter really. They want to get the qualifying lap, they want to get a banker in, because they know race 1 is their best opportunity of getting those wins and those points on the board, because you run the risk then of trying to get the job done in the sprint races in race 2 and race 3 with the reverse grid.
Yeah, no doubt, and if you don't get into that reverse grid going into race 2, that can possibly be your evening over pretty much. I think these drivers get a couple of drop rounds, but yeah, certainly if you finish outside the top 20 in race 1, then your chances of getting a top 10 you've only really got a chance at a top 10 in race 3, because it's not the easiest car to overtake him, is this, and also this Suzuka circuit, and it's so competitive that no one's going to give an inch, so should be really important this qualifying to get underway, and of course very important that first lap as well, that you don't get involved in incidents. And so far, of course, as we expected, this championship going to come down to consistency. I think Josh Thompson, you know, I think it's fair enough to say that he's been the fastest driver so far, particularly in qualifying, but he's not leading the championship currently just due to a couple of mistakes, but I'd certainly back him for pole position for this one. I think he is 3 out of 3 so far this season in qualifying.
I think you might be right on that one, as here comes Christian Rose up to the infamous spoon curve. That was where the Williamses famously went off in 95. Of course I got out of that one, but then by the time we got to 130R, which is the corner we're coming up to next, the gravel flew out of the car and he went flying off into the gravel at 130R. No such issues for Christian Rose as he builds up into 6th gear, into top gear. You can see the times coming along the bottom of your screen. They're all green because these are their first laps out of the pits. Everybody's going to be setting personal bests here in the early going, but who's going to be setting the purple lappers? He vaults over the chicane. Christian Rose comes out of the final corner. The timing tower should appear in a moment, and we'll find out how good of a lap that is. Over the timing line he goes, and Christian Rose does a 1:54.005. Now that's going to be the gauntlet for everybody else to beat as the times start to come in. Ben Hackerson doing a 54.0. Who else have we got here? This is Michael Doka coming into coming through 130 on into the Casio Triangle now. A bit of a lock-up with the car in front of him as he comes through the chicane now. And what's the Fitstyle Motorsports car going to do? Is Josh Thompson, you mentioned him. Sam, he's been on pole position the most out of anybody this season, and he's got into provisional pole now with a 1:53.82 as over the line goes Doka, and it is an invalidated lap for him as Kaiser is the quickest down.
Yeah, that was a really good lap time from Thompson as Setsas now goes faster. He was very impressive at Sebring, and he's trying to back that up. Certainly one of the championship challenges. Janssen goes up into 3rd with a 54 completely dead. Absolutely fantastic that for all viewers with OCD. And yeah, really competitive times at the top there. We'll be interested to see if these times can improve actually. Track currently 31 degrees as these drivers drive over, and as the morning progressive, progresses, it should get a little bit warmer, but I'd say so far this season we've seen the drivers continually improving their lap times, and well, is there much more left for Setsas and Thompson, or is that going to be their absolute best? I think they might be able to get into the low 53s by the end of this.
Jake Blackwell putting in a banker lap there, 54.2. No such luck for Rusty Laidler though on that lap. It looks like he wasn't able to improve. But here is Christian Rose again. Greens through pretty much all of the sectors apart from sector 4 there. We'll see if the Porsche is able to improve on his personal best of a 1:54.0. We'll get their best lap times up so you can see what their personal bests are and what the fastest time is in the session, as Christian Rose comes over the timing line and does a 53.8. An improvement from him, but it's not enough to get him onto the front row of the grid. Just a few hundredths of a second in it.
Yeah, ever so close. And of course, going back to the pits, these drivers might get 2 laps on a set of tyres, but of course, it is so competitive that that third lap, the tyres just aren't going to be there. Even if they're just losing a 1/10.5, that's too much to lose. And so these guys have actually got to put in some pretty stern times with those fresh tyres, as Jamie Ayres crosses the line, improves slightly actually, but it's not much to, it's not enough to move him up the grid too much. He's in 19th, and you can see straight away trying to get out to the pits. He wants to get as many laps done as possible. Got about 8.5 more minutes, so not halfway yet, and yeah, still Setsas setting the pace.
As you can see, everybody, the moment they cross the line, is going straight back to the pits and getting on an outlap again. So apologies that we have to keep fly our way through the field to try and find drivers on laps. Ross McFarlane is nearing the end as off goes there Andy Shield. Here is Ross McFarlane, one of the quickest drivers in the series. Let's see what he can do in his qualifying lap. Over the line he goes. It's going to be a personal best, obviously, because he hasn't set a time yet. It is good enough for 15th place, 54.9, and you can see just from the timing tower here, from 4th all the way down to 17th are all in the 54s, so pretty close so far. And with all of the pretty much all of the top 14 on outlaps, we can expect to see a flurry of lap times once again as we hit the halfway mark in this session. Good lap from Chris Staines too. Sorry.
Yeah, where's Staines gone? 9th place now for Chris Staines, into the low 54s. He only needs another 0.4 of a second, and he could be on the second row of the grid. So we'll keep on pushing. Jesse Stevens does well there to move up into the top 8 now. It's constantly changing this series, I say, but 1 week to the next, you always see different drivers in the top 10. For example, Andy Shield currently struggling a little bit down in 18th. When I think he's already had a few top 10 so far this season, as Josh Thompson trying to get as much of a slipstream as possible. This should be easy flat. No, he's quite a big lift, apologies. That's not down to Josh not being a very good driver. He is a superb driver, and or is he just getting held up a little bit here? Wasn't the perfect Castillo triangle, just seemed to hesitate a little bit when getting the power down the number 49 car. Can he improve on his time? Yes, he can. He takes provisional pole. Josh Thompson, 53.5, is a 1/10.5 clear. Can Setsas respond?
We're going to find out now. He's on the beginning of a lap. Ross McFarlane, you can see at the bottom of the screen, he too is on another banker. And he's put in a few green boxes, but it doesn't look like the most inspiring lap from Ross McFarlane. So we'll stick here with Sindre Setsas as he flies around the Suzuka circuit. Whereabouts is Christian Rose for that matter, because he is just a little bit further up the road now, going into the hairpin. He's currently in provisional 3rd place with just a few hundredths of a second between him and Setsas, and 2 for Janssen in 4th, who has yet to improve on that 54.000. Ben Palmer's done pretty well as well. The CQI GT Racing car 1, he is currently in 5th, and you can see where the AM drivers are as well by the red dots on the screen. Mark Woodhouse and Kaiser is off. Sindre Setsas has returned to the pits, so he's obviously made a mistake on that lap. You could see also by the fact that his number flashed red too, which also means off the circuit. Janssen puts in a new lap. Dave Baker goes into 8th with a 54.2, but this is what we're focusing on now. Here's Christian Rose into the Castillo triangle. He set provisional pole briefly as he flies over the curbs. He just don't want to run too far wide, otherwise he could get an off track and ruin everything. Over the line he goes. Is it going to be an improvement? It is not a 53.9, 5 thousandths of a second slower than his personal best.
I do think there should be like bonus points if you can set similar lap times, because it shows how consistent you are and does it. And that'll help him in the race. It's not helping him in qualifying. It is mind-bogglingly frustrating when you set maybe a theoretical best, maybe 4 tenths faster than your quickest lap. And I wonder if that's what's just happened to Rose's. Hackerson really impressing out there so far, up into the top 5 once again in his Ford, and representing that Ford GT very impressively currently. And Dion Phillips currently doing well as well in 7th, and he's on a quick lap right now, going up into 130. He isn't going to get a slipstream, but at the same time he's not going to get held up, thankfully, from his perspective. As just goes through this one, almost getting a little bit of a slide and taking lots of curb on the inside. Different lines you can take through this one, where you take a slightly earlier apex, didn't quite clamber all over it, but that's probably how he likes it. And through there very neatly. Leon Phillips currently 7th place with a 54.2, and he can't improve, 4/100 slower. Track temperature staying about the same, so these conditions not really changed for these, shall I say. The grip level staying about static.
Warmingham is yet to set a time. He is currently on his way towards the final corner now, the Casio Triangle. Here it is, the XVR green car. Car 714 fighting in the Pro category. See what he can do here as Warmingham comes to the line. It might be just outside the top 10, we'll wait and see. Over the line he goes, and looks like he is invalidated lap, so he's going to have to carry on. Hackerson is back on a lap, and he is in the thick of the action here. He's got he's gone off at 130R, so he's going to abandon that one. Here comes Carl Janssen over the line to start a lap. Indeed, as he comes over the line now, so not too many more minutes to go in the session. See if anybody else is able to improve on their personal best as Janssen goes into the first corner. Jesse Stevens does a 54.0, which moves him up to 7th. New personal best there, 1,000th of a second away from Ben Palmer. God, that must be agonising.
Absolutely. And he's on the inside. I don't even want to get into this 1990. Oh, it was 1990. Yeah, it was 1990. Controversy of Senna Prost. Which side of the grid the pole sitter starts? Don't want to open that can of beans once again, but either way, it could be okay for him. He'll only have 3 cars in front of him, of course, on the grid, as long as it stays the same. As Jake Blackwell does a great job getting into the top 3 for CQR. It's currently a CQR 1-3-4 with Sinjay Sets. That's very much ruining the pass, just as he did at Sebring. Dion Phillips, can he improve from 9th? No, and I think that's the end of his session. So these guys, in fact, they're pretty much on their last lap, I think, now. Oh no, so they've got 2 more laps from now. If they're currently on one, they'll get this one and then one more.
Back here with Carl Janssen as he goes up the hill. Yeah, it's a rolling start here, of course. It's one of the shortest run-ups, in fact, that we do. The pace car gets underway. The grid's up here. And then we get going through 130R into the Casio Triangle, and then we get the green lights. Not where the timing line is, but where the official start line is. So it's all going to be up to what the pole sitter's going to do, which you'd expect as things stand to be Josh Thompson. Whether he's going to go when the safety car pulls into the pit lane, or he's going to wait until the green lights come on. Meanwhile, here comes Carl Janssen. Over the line he goes, and does improve, 53.7. Up to 3rd position as he slams into the wall. That is his qualifying done for the day. Sinjay Set says he's on an outlap. He is going to have to drive like a man possessed to get around before the checker flag comes out, which I don't think he'll be able to. Josh Thompson doesn't improve either. Ben Palmer is coming over the line now. Is he going to be able to increase his advantage over Stevens? No, he can't. Jamie Rushworth has already crossed the line, so that's going to be the end of his qualifying session. Here comes 5th place man Christian Rose. Over the line, a few green boxes. Is it going to be enough to move him up the order? It is.
Yes.
2nd, only 800ths away from Josh Thompson.
Yeah, I was just about to say the track temperature's gone up by 1 degree. I thought that may have put off the drivers ever so slightly, but Rose, great effort, and that's pretty good for CQR. That's very important for for him and Josh Thompson, locking out the front row of the grid. and he'll be able to complete this lap, Will Rose. I doubt he's going to be able to improve on relatively old tyres, but looks like a pretty tidy first part of the lap, just catching up to another Porsche as well. If he catches that near the end of the lap, could be advantageous, but of course anyone else could hold him a little bit. But you can see how aggressive he is. He's trying to get every last 100, like he said, 8 100s off, and he now gets a clear bit of track. This could be dangerous for Christian Rose. He could maybe halt Josh Thompson's absolute dominance in qualifying this season.
Wait and see. Here comes Miguel Freitas, 24th on the grid. He stays 24th, right in amongst the thick of the Pro-Ams in the field. Josh Thompson, I'm almost certain, is, well, yeah, this is a fast lap, isn't it? Through the final corner comes Josh Thompson. Disappeared there, but he's back now. Is he going to be able to improve on his pole position time of a 1:53.503? He does! A 1:53.323, 2 tenths of a second faster than Christian Rose. And a benchmark set right there. But can Christian Rose improve on that? Sam was mentioning how he's on one, but it looks like he may have just backed off. And he might be consolidating his second position here as he trundles back into the pit lane. Let's search them up for Chaz Draycott here, the Beast Racing car, one of the Pro-Am drivers. In fact, if we get the Pro-Am standings up, Chaz is currently in 11th with Mark Woodhouse set to take pole in that category. Draycott's his personal best is a 55.5, and he does a nice stop there for the line. Good for the cameras, but I don't think he was going to be able to improve on that time, hence why he does that over the timing line, and he stays in 11th place in class, which overall is going to be 33rd.
Yes, he's going to be right in the thick of it, is Chaz. He's going to do well to get through those first few corners cleanly. I must say, I am very glad that we are covering the qualifying, because it's great fun seeing the times whittle down. Well, it's not quite like the F1 qualifying, I must say. That would be pretty insane. Hopefully that will be an option in the near future. But it's still very exciting seeing those times go down. But Josh Thompson, seemingly, every time just always has that extra bit under his hat. And managed to produce it there.
Sindre Setsas.
I don't think this is a time. No.
I'd hope not. Well, there you go. Yeah, Sindre Setsas is a 53.6. That's his personal best, and he wasn't able to improve there. Yeah, for almost definitely was not done before the checkered flag. Right then, time to run you through the grid for this first race of the day. As we said, 20-minute sprint race. It is a rolling start. What line is going to be the preferred one for the first corner? The inside line, or with the track position, or the outside line, which will be the racing line? We'll see. Josh Thompson starts on the pole. It's a CQR race up front row with Christian Rose second. Sindre Setsas in third with Carl Janssen in fourth. A very Scandinavian feel to the second row of the grid there. Jake Blackhall in fifth, the Aussie, and Ben Hackerson in sixth place there. So we've got the Ashes there in fifth and sixth. Ben Palmer seventh with Jesse Stevens in eighth. Jamie Rushworth ninth, the former BSRTC champion, and Dion Phillips in 10th. David Baker 11th. Chris Daines in 12th place, and then moving on further back, 13th for Michael Avdoka, Matt Bunn 14th, 15th for Andy Shield, 16th for Small Time Racing's Mark Woodhouse. That team is leading the Pro-Am Teams Championship, and they've got one of their men on the pole. Dave Janssen in 17th place with Jeroen Kaiser in 18th, the Dutchman. Michael Hall 19th, and Ross McFarlane starting in 20th. 21st place for Steve Lavalley, 22nd for Jamie Ayres, the Welshman. Steve Burke 23rd, and then Simon Underhill in 24th for the Nomad Sim Racing team. Miguel Freitas, the Portuguese, starting in 25th, and another Welshman, Lee Deemer, in 26th. Paul Smith, the Yorkshireman, in 27th, Richard Warmingham in 28th place, and then as we get into a flurry of AMs, it is Mike Gray in 29th, Michael Blake in 30th in the Immortal car, then Tom Jacobs, David White, Chaz Draycott, Adam Hedgecock, Josh Rayfields, Jason Rowe, 37th for Ronald Moons, then Ben Gregory, right in the thick of the Pro-Am fight in 38th place, 39th for Stuart Atkinson, 40th for John Roberts, 41st for Lars Van Ryn, Anthony Jacobson in 42nd, 43rd for Lee Woodburn, 44th for Scott Malcolm, and it just carries on, doesn't it? 45th for Dan Ruzu, then Rusty Laidler at the back, not setting a time incidentally. I don't know whether that's because of potential bans or whatnot, but I'm not too sure there. Danny McCauley, 47th, Lane O'Connor, 48th, and then Morgan Butler starting right at the very back of the grid in 49th place as the field begins its very short, I say pace lap, it's a bit of a reconnaissance few corners, Sam, and we'll be getting this one underway.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a dummy grid if anything. Can Thompson help his teammate Rose? He doesn't want Setsas on his tail whatsoever. Setsas is going to go for this second place, definitely going into turn 1. This is a very important start.
Indeed it is. We've got 3 of these, of course. Oh, Thompson's playing chicken with them. Now he goes. Very nearly got run into the back of there. But race 1 of the day and race the 4th race meeting of the season in the World GT Championship is underway as the cars scream across the line and into the first corner. Watch out for Christian Rose and Sindre Setsas. Setsas might be about to, Carl Janssen might be about to gate crash that second place. He does. So Christian Rose drops down to 3rd. He might even drop down to 4th place here. Sindre Setsas in the Ferrari has sights set on that final position on the rostrum in the early going, but no way through there, and it all settles down again. Good start from Jesse Stevens. Dave Baker is in the middle of something. He's lost 1 position already. He's trying to get some of them back as we go through the S's, but I must say, Sam, a very clean start from everybody. Nobody's had to tow back to the pits, and we've got all 49 cars out on the circuit as Josh Thompson races towards the Degner curves for the first time.
Yeah, really good start. Janssen absolutely nailed that launch. I think it was Rose and Setsas just getting caught up a little bit, just braking when Thompson kind of fainted going a little bit earlier. And Janssen absolutely perfected that start, and look how strong he is. We know how quick those core cars are in the races in comparison to qualifying, as Jazz J got really wide there, going a lot further than his rivals. Alongside now the number 17 car, he's around Tom Jacobs as well, his own teammate as Janssen off.
Carl Janssen, he was up to 2nd, it was going so well, and now the Swede has spun and he might be in all sorts of trouble here as he's trying to get back in some sort of composure as him and Michael Hall go wheel to wheel down the back straight. This is not what he would have wanted. The Corsim Racing team were looking to get some points on the board in the early going in race 1, but now he's going to have to try and fight his way back up through the field as we go into the Casio Triangle here. This is Dion Phillips muscling his way past Chris Daines there. The Excite Racing car up to 9th place as we get a lap in the books, and what a dramatic lap it is. Carl Janssen, I think, might have crashed again. He has at the Casio Triangle, and the Simmortal car has to take evasive action. Chaz Dracos also involved potentially, and what started off as a pretty awful second half of the lap for Carl Janssen has just got even worse. He's managed to come across the line to complete the lap, but what a disaster of a start for him.
Absolutely, and I said earlier on, if you don't finish in the top 20 in race 1, that can pretty much be any chance of a good result across the day over and done with, as we see the replay of his spin.
Here's the first incident then. Oh, he brakes on the grass. He powers the foot. Oh, he very nearly got hit again then. Oh my words, the Porsche goes flying to the outside of him, and he's able to get going again. Let's see what happened at the Casio Triangle though. Moments later, there is a Porsche off the circuit. He sees the opportunity to go up the inside. The Porsche's still there. We very nearly saw that with Dion Phillips a bit further up the field. Oh, and he gets clattered in at the rear by one of the Simmortal cars. And off is David Baker. The CQR race-up car is off at the hairpin. He was running up inside the top 10, Sam.
Yeah, it's terrible for him. Has he been touched, I wonder, or lost it by himself? Which I can't see this replay.
I'll tell you what happens. Oh, lost it under braking, I don't know. He didn't even hit the grass on the outside. Just looked like the brakes locked up, and around the Porsche went. What drama here for many of our competitors here. We've got Josh Thompson now in 47th, and we've got Carl Janssen, who's making some bit of progress here. He's up to 39th place. As we finally get the timing table up for you at the end of the opening lap, a crazy opening lap. And you can see that Carl Janssen is right in the midst of the AMs, trying to get past Lars van Rijn there, and he does so, going up through 130R. Next on his hit list is Rusty Laidler in 37th place, who didn't set a time in the qualifying session. And yeah, all sorts of stuff going on in the top 10ers. Here is Josh Thompson. Everything going fine in this man's world right now. He's racing in, I believe he was racing in the Bathurst 12 hours at the weekend, and he's doing a decent job here in the early going. In fact, it's a great start for CQR Race Hub. Both of the course sim racing cars, they tried to gate crash their top 2 party, but they weren't able to do so, and now Josh Thompson is leading the way so far.
Yep, a second clear of Christian Rose. Those two are going to work together undoubtedly to the end of this race. Sets us keeping tabs, but not really putting as much pressure on those two as I thought he might. As we see Ben Palmer currently in 15th place, drops from 7th on the grid seemingly. Just trying to get the car over the curb there. As we see plenty of overtakes into this hairpin in real life. Very rare that you see one in sim racing. It's ever so difficult to pull off, getting a little bit of oversteer, and that's really compromised his exit. McFarlane really close to the back of him. McFarlane started in 20th position, and you can see he's trying to get closer and closer. Dave Janssen as well, maybe a little bit out of position as well, so not easy for Palmer right now.
It's a good battle as well in terms of where the AM drivers are as well, because you can see Mark Woodhouse is in 12th place. He's leading the AMs in the early going, and it's Kaiser 2 places behind him in 14th, but he's now coming under all sorts of pressure from Andy Shield a bit further up the road as Palmer versus Kaiser, and Palmer makes it very, very easy indeed as the CQR GT car goes by. Jake Blackall is off, and that is the final corner. That's where Juan Pablo Montoya crashed in 2005 at the beginning of a crazy race. Dan Russo has crashed 2 somewhere out on the circuit. Doesn't look like Blackall's hit anything, but he's definitely gone off the circuit, and he's now come back on track again. Let's see what's happened to poor Jake Blackall here, the Aussie, in the CQR Tarkov car, going through 130R. Everything seems fine here. Runs out a bit wide. Oh my word! Oh, and he hits the wall. There's another one. Somehow that could have been a whole lot worse though.
Absolutely, I thought he may come for a move on set us, but nowhere near. And yeah, that was a miracle. We very rarely see that. Although, of course, the grass don't take him. It's so easy when you get back onto the circuit. You can really swap ends the car. And Black Hawk drops down into 6th. CQR have gone from a 1-2-4 to 1-2-6. Still not bad, but he's going to struggle to get past Hackerson and Stevens. 2.5 seconds gaps back to Phillips as Baker. He's really out of position at the moment, down in I just tried to look 44. Gosh, yeah, yeah. He's there should be relatively simple for him. At the same time, he will just try to be finishing this race because he's not going to get within the necessary result to get within the reverse grid. But he's lining this one up. Scott Malcolm, will he go for the move at the hairpin? Yes, he was. We see a little bit of smoke just ahead. Baker alongside, doesn't quite get the exit. And, well, this is very difficult for him at the moment.
What a great battle this between 2 veterans at the BSRTC on a Thursday. Now they're racing in GT cars. Baker trying to get those positions back after the spin at the hairpin on the 2nd lap of the race. Scott Malcolm trying everything he can to get those Pro-Am points on the board, as Ben Palmer, I think, has gone for a little wander somewhere, but he's stayed on the circuit. In fact, he might have got past somebody there. He's got past Mark Woodhouse for 12th position as Joe, oh my goodness me, Joe Kaiser is out the circuit. There's cars all over the place on the front straight. Careful guys, this might not end well. Kaiser, the Dutchman, was all over the place. There's smoke coming out the back of the engine. That could spell the end of his race for now. He'll have to tow back to the pits and get a new car. There is a fast repair in this series. But the obvious question, Sam, is what happened? Let's see what happened here. It's 2 Ferraris. It's Ross McFarlane. Oh! Wow. Well, was that the power? He was putting the power down? It was hard to tell.
Yeah, it was a bit of an unusual line coming out of that chicane. Yeah, he just got on the grass. There may be a small tap. And, well, he'll be very frustrated with himself there, Jerome. Should still, yeah, get that fast repair, as you said, but blown engine. And, well, he's still going. So he's managed to blow up the engine. And, well, he needs an engine, seemingly, when Jerome Kaiser is at the wheel. And he's being able to carry on as if nothing has happened. And maybe won't need that fast repair after all. Paul Smith, this does mean that he's now up 9 positions, up into the top 18. It was also Steve Lavelli, I think, who got caught up in that. Richard Warmingham's teammate is now having to defend against Michael Blake. Of course, Michael Blake's teammate Lee Deemer got caught up in that instant on lap 1. Oh, sorry, lap 2. No, it was lap 1, apologies. At the Casio Triangle. So plenty of fatalities in this one, despite having a relatively clean first half of the lap. Has now losing a position there. Jamie Rushworth going straight through another driver completely out of position. Could be a good pick for race 2, seeing that he's currently on the on the outer edges of the top 20.
Yeah, if you're new to into the World GT Championship, the reverse grid is basically 14, 16, 18, 20 and 22 cars are reversed. It's not as dynamic as the BSRTC, where we could have as many as like this, for example. If all 49 cars finished, we could literally have 48 cars reversed. Here it's definitely middle of the road, so if you do finish in the midfield, you will be rewarded. So if we do get 22 cars reversed, that is going to be Mike Gray that's going to be reversed onto pole position. He's gained 7 spots so far, and he is currently sat in 22nd place. So the reverse grid lands on him. He is going to be on the pole, but as you can see from the clock at the top left of the screen, we've only done half of this race so far, and there's still plenty of it to go. But at the front, it is still very much a short performance by CQR Race Hub. The gap between first and second, Thompson and Rose, 2.4 seconds, and then it's a 0.3 of a second gap back to Sindre Setsas, who is being kept at bay pretty well so far from Christian Rose.
Yes, Setsas just starting to apply a little bit more pressure on that last lap. He was just over a 10th faster. They managed to drop Hackerson and Stevens and Blackhall now. And, well, that Ferrari, I think, is quite strong down the straight. Really depends what type of downforce these drivers are using. I would have thought going to circuit like Suzuka, running quite a lot of rear wing and not making too much of an impact down that straight. It sets us so difficult to stay close to the 130 and stay close on the exit of the Casio Triangle as well, because you've got the concertina effect. The driver ahead always gets on the power that little bit earlier than you, and that's a really good exit actually for Setsas. He's within about 0.3 of a second. That's pretty much as close as he's going to get, down to 0.2 of a second. If he really goes for this one into turn, he might just have a chance. Setsas, no, he stays behind, and of course around this part of the circuit, no chance. So he's going to have to wait probably till Spoon to have another half chance.
Good battle that. Here is one. This is down the front straight. This is Paul Smith versus Richard Warmingham going on here. This is a battle over 18th and 19th. Going into the first corner, Paul Smith, an AM driver as well. You can also tell that by the windscreen strips. You can see that Richard Warmingham, he's a pro. He's got a black strip. I believe Paul Smith is an AM. So it says on our data anyway. But he's got a black windscreen strip as well. Maybe it's just colour preference, and I'm just speaking garbage. But 12 minutes into this one, and both these drivers have had good starts. Richard Warmingham gaining 9 spots, Paul Smith gaining 9-2. And if a reverse grid is to go in their favour, then these guys could end up right at the front of the grid. And these Porsches, which are really the majority car being run here, I'll probably say, are doing a decent job here. Not too many Mercedes we're seeing today. I'm just going to point that out. A lot of
Mercedes?
A lot of Porsches. Oh no, is there no Porsches allowed in this series? Is that the rule?
No, so what Porsches are? Yeah, but no Mercedes, of course, in this series. It's only GT3s. Only GTEs. Always losing out there is Paul Smith. Although he might still be able to retaliate, could get a little bit blocked in. It could. Everyone's out of shape there. And back down the inside is Jamie Rushworth. Is he going to be able to make this one stick this time? Now they're side by side going into 130R. Smith, maybe with the slightly better straight line speed. No, he's losing out, if anything, to Rushworth. That's absolutely crucial. Rushworth trying to take the normal racing line. Smith is saying no to that, as he's going to make it really awkward, tries to get the cutback, but a mid-corner cutback, that's not going to happen. He's desperate to get the position back as Paul Smith, but wisely opts out a bit. Eventually, no, he's going to go for it like an absolute madman, and it's going to cost him another position. Smith there, too aggressive, I think, considering that Rushworth is such a quick driver and was inevitably going to get the move done eventually.
Good battle this between Chris Daines and Michael Evdoka going through going through the first of the S's. This is a fantastic scrap over 9th and 10th. There's a, I should say, is that Matt Bunn as well? Yes, Bunn, Danes and Evdoka over 8th, 9th and 10th. They've been wheel to wheel for all of the S's. Matt Bunn trying to get up the inside. So close to contact. Paul Smith was a madman earlier on in the lap. These guys are really putting on a show here in the early going of the evening. What's Michael Evdoka do? Surely he's not going to look up the inside. Matt Bunn's offline. He's off. He's through the gravel. His teammate Ben Palmer in the car one, in car number 1, is going to try and get by. That's very close. This is where Danny Kvyat had a big crash in a Red Bull many years ago. And a few lockups as well for good measure as we go through the hairpin. Danes and Evdoka have checked out here. They're leaving the 2 CQR GT racing cars to scrap over the remaining spot inside the top 10. And Andy Shield is keeping a watching brief, hoping that these two teammates, have a little bit of an incident to take each other out. But so far, they're able to call a bit of a truce to that scrap and say, hang on, those 2 in front, Danes and Evdoka are pulling away. Let's try and work together and we can close back up to them again, because they've scampered off a little bit on this lap.
Yeah, and then the spoon, I think both Danes and Evdoka, you just saw them really missing the apexes. So actually this is going to turn back into a 5-way battle. You can see there's barely a gap between any of them, really running wide there, Shield. You do not want to put the power down once you get onto that artificial grass, but it's so slippery. Of course, maybe a criticism of iRacing, as we see Evdoka going side by side, I think just ahead, and this could be very close. He's now ahead, in fact, of Chris Danes. It's all going on as Shield tries to get the move as well. We're going to have 3 wide going into first curve. Evdoka trying to cover off every direction that his opponents can go, but round the outside goes Ben Palmer. There's no room out there though, pushes him off. 2015X once again, and eventually gets it done, does Michael Evdoka. And Palmer in 10th, sorry, Danes into 9th, Palmer into 10th.
Well, I didn't see anything wrong in that, but CQR Race Hub, the 1-2 has been broken. Sindre Setsas is up into P2, and here's how it happened. It was down the front straight. See what it looks like from the helicopter here. Come over the timing line to start the lap. He's in the tow. We saw this a few laps ago when Sam was talking us through it. The slipstream, though, it worked to good effect here. And late on the brakes, Sindre Setsas goes through to break the 1-2 dominance. CQR Race up here with 4 minutes to go here at Suzuka in race 1. Here is your Pro-Am battle situation. It's Mark Woodhouse currently leading the way. He has got a 1.9 second advantage over Simon Underhill, who is now the 2nd highest Pro-Am car. It's Smile Time Racing first, Nomad Sim Racing in 2nd in terms of the Pro-Am battle, as Jamie Rushworth continues his recovery. I think he might have been helped by Miguel Freitas being off the circuit. Indeed he is. The Portuguese is trying to find a route back to the circuit. He's mistaken his Ferrari for a rally car, or maybe he's having issues with the car, that should be said, because the bonnet is completely off and the rear aerodynamics is a bit out of kilter as David White and Jamie Ayres scrap over 22nd.
Oh, contact, and well, White managed to hang on to that one, and Ayres seems to be okay as well. It's odd that these drivers are so desperate to get the cutback there. They seem to think that they can just nip down the inside mid-corner as we go back to this battle. Bunn going past Palmer now. So remember, Palmer nearly got up into 8th. It was alongside Evdoka with just 1 lap ago, going up into 8th place, and now he's back down into 11th. Bunn recovering a position, and also Shield, their teammates, only just behind as well. And then of course just ahead it's Northern Lights Racing, Chris Danes, and Pitstone Motorsport, Michael Evdoka. And well, will Bunn now be able to respond against Danes? We've only got 2 more minutes, so it's going to be this lap and 1 more, so not much more time for these drivers to yeah, end their battles.
Got to say that an update on Carl Jansen's race so far. He's up to 27th place now, Jansen. He has got about 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds to make up a whole load of positions and get into the top 22 and then be on reverse grid pole. It is a bit of a long shot, but I was at Villa Park on Friday night and I did not see a 3-goal deficit being overturned. It was, just to bring that into the equation. So miracles could happen, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, as Carl Jansen has a 1.8 second gap to make up to 26th place Adam Hedgecock. And a few laps to go now. Where's Josh Thompson on the circuit? He is just coming out the final corner now. He will be getting the white flag. David Baker, I think, has crashed again, has he? Dave Baker, who was already in strife. Oh, that is... I thought that was smoke coming out of the back of the engine. There was smoke coming out of the back of Josh Rayfield's car because he's gone off. The Northern Lights Racing GT Omega car's gone off the circuit. We'll find out quickly what happened to David Baker, though. This is going into the hairpin. This is where he went off earlier on in the race, on lap 2, in fact. He's trying to get past the Immortal car. Oh, that was a late defensive move, I must say. And Baker has to go across the circuit, takes evasive action, but it doesn't pick up any damage.
Yeah, so he'll try to just get to the end of the race now, Baker. But yeah, frustrating for him because he could have well got a top 8 out of this race, undoubtedly. And might still be able to gain maybe one more position to the end. Hackerson, he's closing in a little bit on Rose, him and Stevens, but it's not going to be nearly enough. Blackhall really dropping off in these past few laps, actually. Of course, Blackhall was running as high as 4th earlier on, before he had a pretty incredible crash. Probably the reason why he's dropped off is because of the damage. And also Bunn and Palmer and Shield and Woodhouse still having a bit of a battle, but it seems to have calmed down a little bit. Stevens playing some decent pressure on. This is as close as he's been for the entire race, but is it worth the risk? Remember, these guys just trying to accumulate the points, and they do not want to throw away just for the sake of a half a chance at a 4th place. But I think that's not quite a good enough run for Stevens. He will probably stay behind us. Thompson enters the final few corners.
Indeed he does. It's been a great start to the season for him. He won at the Glen. He won at Road America. He didn't win at Sebring, but that was an enduro event. We return to the sprint races, and Josh Thompson wins race 1 of the day here at Suzuka, and he's delighted with that. Sindre Setsas is going to break the CQR race of dominance that we saw in the first half of the race to get second. Christian Rose is going to keep his 3rd place, but Ben Hackerson had to work to keep Jesse Stevens at bay. Where's Mark Woodhouse in all of this then? The Smile Time Racing car is going to come out of the final corner, and he is going to win the AM category here for Smile Time Racing. Simon Underhill, a Pro-Am rival, is going to push him all the way. Good battle here, and it might not be over. This is... Oh, David White might just be done around the outside there, and a brilliant move by the Welshman, Jamie Ayres. What a move there by the Nomad Sim Racing car. I think that was a... that might have been actually White trying to get the place rather than Ayres getting it done. But anyway, that was a good battle as they came to the checkered flag. Meanwhile, Stuart Atkinson might have been trying to get past Steve Burke there, but it didn't work. And he's now opened himself up to an attack from Josh Rayfield, but there's just not enough track to get the move done before they get to the checkered flag. Meanwhile, Mike Gray's off. That's Spoon Curve. And that's handed a place to Dan Rusu, who here he is in the privateer entry with the British flag adorned above his Porsche. He's going to come through and finish in 43rd place. It's only his 4th start of the season. Raced at the Glen, hasn't been seen since. He didn't do Road America or Sebring, but he's back here at Suzuka, and he's going to come across the line and finish in 43rd place. A finish nonetheless. His car looks a lot cleaner than some of the other ones out there, that must be said, as he comes across the line now to take 43rd position. And that is about it, as everybody's now crossed the line, and we can catch our breath, Sam, and reflect on a great way to open the evening. And great job for Josh Thompson. A few Radicals colleagues, I think, on the YouTube chat giving him a well done as well. And he won race 1 at the Glen. He won race 1 at Road America. He wins race 1 here at Suzuka. He knows how to get it done when it comes to the qualifying and getting the race win as well.
Yeah, definitely. And once he had Rose behind him in those opening stages, managed to pull away. But I think even Setsas can keep up with him. That was really nicely done there from Thompson. And of course, really going to help him in the championship. A few points behind still, but with so long to go in the championship, these are the types of performances he needs. He'll be very pleased with that one. But of course, the proper part of the evening, certainly race 2 and 3, that is where you can really gain and, well, most likely lose the points. So Josh will need to be on his A game for that one. We saw overtaking quite possible out there. So I think if we maybe get a reverse grid of maybe something like 15, maybe we could see Thompson returning to that podium.
Let's get the race results up then from the opening race of the day. Don't know what on earth that's saying. We'll try again with that. Well, it does say that Josh Thompson won, so it got that right. I'll quickly do a quick race result retrieve for you, and we can get the results up back. There we go. We'll try again. Oh, I'll still mess it up, but it's got the positions right. Josh Thompson wins. Sindre Setsas in second. Christian Rose finishes in third place. Fourth for Ben Hackerson, with Jesse Stevens finishing in fifth. Jake Blackhall finishing in sixth, with Dion Phillips seventh. Michael Evdoka eighth. Chris Daines ninth. Matt Bunn in 10th. Ben Palmer 11th, with Andy Shield in 12th in the 007 car. And then we've got the two Pro-Am drivers that did well there. That's Mark Woodhouse and Simon Underhill. Good job from those two in the Smart On Racing and Nomad Sim Racing cars. Then it's Dave Jansen 15th, with Ross McFarlane in 16th place. Then 17th for Richard Warmingham and Jamie Rushworth in 18th. 19th for Paul Smith. 20th for Michael Blake, two Pro-Am drivers there. Miguel Freitas went off the circuit but managed to salvage a 21st place finish. Michael Hall in 22nd, so we do get a 22 reverse grid. It'll be on him on the pole. Jamie Ayres just missing out. You can see how desperate Jamie was there for a late race overtake. It's because he could have been on the reverse grid pole. Now he's going to be starting in 23rd. That is a dead cert. 24th for David White, then Ben Gregory 25th. 26th for Adam Hedgecock. Carl Janssen down in 27th place after that spin, two spins on the opening lap of the race. He's able to get a 27th place finish, with Jason Rowe 28th. 29th for Lee Deemer. Dave Baker in 30th after two run-ins at the hairpin. Ronald Moons 31st. Rusty Laidler in 32nd, and Daniel McCauley. Tom Jacobs, John Roberts, Steve Burke in 36th. Stuart Atkinson in 37th. And then Josh Rayfield in 38th. Then 39th for Morgan Butler. Lane O'Connor in 40th for the XVR Green Team. Scott Malcolm in 41st. We saw him have a good battle with Dave Baker early on. Then Lars Van Ryn, Dan Ruzu, Mike Gray, Sharon Kaiser, Chaz Draycott, and then Anthony Jacobson and Lee Woodburn. And then Steve Lavalley right at the back in 48th place. And we can quickly recap you on the AM results. He says, I thought that would work. It didn't. Never mind that. But as Michael Evdoka says on the YouTube chat, great racing. And he would have liked that as well. A good result for Evdoka in that first race. And with an 8th place result in the Fitstar Motorsports car. But now it is the turn of the reverse grid to take centre stage here. And we will get it up and we will see who is going to be on the pole for the second race of the day. It's one of our best moments of the evening. And yes, it was hard work, Papa Hedge. Let's see who is going to get on the pole for race 2 as I quickly get the reverse grid wheel up for you. And then we'll be looking forward to that as the famous Ferris wheel at Suzuka. Reverse grid wheel any moment now. There it is. We'll bring it up on screen. There it is. And let's spin it and see who's going to be on the pole for race 2. Here at Suzuka. It's not going to be 22, it's just going to be 20. And looking at the race results, Sam, that I would say that is Michael Blake, this Immortal car, who is going to be on the pole position. It's a Simmortal wheel. The conspiracies are already flying, I'm sure. But yeah, it's going to be Michael Blake on the pole position for race 2. He finished in 20th place and therefore gets elevated to the pole for race 2. He's going to be joined on the front row by Paul Smith, who seems to do well on these Far East circuits. He does well at Bathurst. He'll be hoping to do well here. Third on the grid is going to be Jamie Rushworth in the CQR GT car. Might be worth a shout there for an early call for potential race victory. Obviously, he's got to get to the front, and we'll see what he can do with that one. But that's how the top 3 is going to be for race 2. And we look forward to bringing you it after this break here on the iRacing Esports Network when the World GT Championship returns here at Suzuka. Join us in a few minutes. Back here at Suzuka, getting set for the second race of the day. The cars are just heading down to the grid now, and we can bring that grid to you. Starting on the pole position, it is Michael Blake with Paul Smith in second. Third is Jamie Rushworth. Fourth, Richard Warmingham. Fifth, Ross McFarlane. Sixth for Dave Janssen. Seventh, Simon Underhill. Eighth is Mark Woodhouse. Ninth is Andy Shield. And 10th is Ben Palmer. Moving on further back, 11th place is Matt Bunn. 12th is Chris Daines, then Michael Evdoka, Dion Phillips, Jake Blackhall, then it is 15th, then 16th Jesse Stevens, then Ben Hackerson, then Christian Rose, then Sindre Setsas, Josh Thompson, Miguel Freitas, Michael Hall, and Jamie Ayres and David Weiss as the cars begin a short pace run through to the final corner, and then we'll get this race underway here at Suzuka.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if Blake and Smith can hold off Rushworth. Of course, Smith and Rushworth had a bit of a battle earlier on. Smith was desperate to keep him behind. That was when they were fighting over 18th place. I'm sure if they're fighting over second, they're going to be even more fierce. But what a chance this is for Jamie Rushworth to really get his evening back on track after a very disappointing race one.
Here we go then, through the final corner. He gets set to go here. It's going to be Michael Blake leading us to the green flag. And away he goes. Paul Smith did his best to keep up with him. We have one car starting from the pit lane. I think it's Scott Malcolm. Green lights are on, and we're racing for the second race of the day here at Suzuka. Good start from Smith already in a bit of battle here with Jamie Rushworth up the inside. BSRTC champion trying to get through here, and it looks like he's done it. Good start from Simon Underhill, also Dave Janssen getting pushed back.
Yeah, Palmer up 4 positions as well, so good start for him. Stevens going up 1, Thompson already up 4, that's important for me. For him, he's got past Rose and Setsas, who's had a little bit of a struggling start out there. As all trying to get through, a little bit of oversteer maybe for Dion Phillips, I think just ahead. But once again, we've had a pretty clean first half lap. Is that deep there on the brakes? No, the drivers really doing well at leaving each other room and still going side by side through the second part of the Degners. Stevens just about pulling ahead. Now can Thompson profit from this? There he goes down the inside. He's very deep on the brakes, but Josh Thompson gets it done impressively in that CQR car. He's up into 15th place. Really good start for him.
Here is Paul Smith. He's already lost 1 place to Jamie Rushworth. He could be about to lose another to Ross McFarlane. Privateer having a little look at the inside there. Chaz Draker and Dan Roos, who have both crashed in the early going. They both crashed at the same time, so I'm guessing it might have been into each other, but we'll wait and see as the cars rocket up the hill. Look at Michael Blake. He could be under pressure from Jamie Rushworth here as we go into the final corner. We're going through 130R now. The CQR GT looks at the inside. Very close there to Rushworth pulling off a move. He might try and think about it going into the final corner, but he thinks better of it. And as we come through the Casio Triangle now to complete the opening lap of another 20-minute race, it's going to be Michael Blake leading them across the line. Second is going to be Jamie Rushworth. Paul Smith in third. Fourth is Ross McFarlane. Then it's Underhill, Palmer, Janssen, Woodhouse, and it's Matt Bunn, Andy Shield rounding out the top 10 as Jamie Rushworth goes for the lead and gets it going into the first corner. CQR GT Racing Porsche hits the front.
Yeah, that was probably wise there from Blake. He doesn't want to lose any more positions. We've got a couple of cars off. Oh, well, there's 3 cars off, I think. We've got Woodhouse, I think that was Janssen as well. And one other, was it Evdoka as well, having an issue. So, yeah, a big incident down there. That was the battle for about 12th position, I believe. And, well, this is how it happened. Evdoka just a little bit behind at this point. I think he gets caught up a little bit innocently in this one. Because, yeah, the incident is way ahead. You can see Woodhouse just ahead there. And, oh, he nearly made it. So many cars involved. Gosh.
Yeah, he was the one that got the end of it, really. Starts it off with Mark Woodhouse going off the circuit. We'll have a look at this again. This is important because, of course, Mark Woodhouse did exceptionally well in the Pro-Am car in race 1. In race 2, it's not the case. Here's a replay. Woodhouse is just in front of all this, so see what he can see. It's the Porsche going up the inside and then slamming into the Nomad Sim Racing car, and he has nowhere to go either. So, problem for Mark Woodhouse. He's going to get going again, and he's in all sorts of issues there. As Chris Daines getting shuffled back, he gets a face full of Josh Thompson there as the CQR race-up car continues his march back up through the field. I don't know why the colours have gone from the timing tower. That's probably me messing about during the commercial break, but we'll still see when cars have gone off the circuit, as here comes Dion Phillips battling away with Andy Shield going through the final corner. Goodness me.
Well, that's got to be one of the moves of the season. Josh Thompson going straight through the middle of them as Phillips has dropped it. Oh, he's going to be so annoyed with himself for that one. An opportunity at a top 10 there for Phillips, but he's lost a lot of time. But Thompson going through the middle of them. Oh, and now getting really checked upwards to Joe just behind. He is now up into 8th place. Could get a podium. I did say in race 1 he was so strong, and with the overtaking very possible around this circuit seemingly, he can maybe find himself up there. As Evdoka, who's going to have damage as well, is the next car. He's got 8 seconds to the lead, has Jamie Rushworth. I'm sure he'll think that it's possible. I think that's a bit of a long shot. But now we've got McFarlane and Palmer going side by side. Palmer trying to get the move done. He's going to be on the outside, going into the Degner, but he's so deep on the brakes, and that's a great move there from Ben Palmer. He's up 6 places himself, and a podium looking very good for him. He's only 2.5 seconds off the lead, and look at this. He's right onto the back of Paul Smith already.
Great battle this. Oh, McFarlane at the inside there as we go on board with the 127 car. On the way towards Spoon Curve now.
Just trying to nail the exit, going a little bit wide there, maybe was Woodhouse. And, well, look at that, he's already been overtaken, so really struggling on the exit. Sorry, that was Smith, apologies. And, yeah, going straight through is Palmer up into the top 3 now, and Blake is going to be very possible for him to catch. So this is looking great for him. Trying to retaliate now, Smith, but it may cost him another position because he's going to be really under pressure, really deep on the brakes there down the inside is Ross McFarlane. He's right around the outside, there's no room, but he's made some room for himself. Paul Smith drops down into 5th place, maybe trying to come back at his rival. Wasn't the wise thing to do, but he's in 5th place now. He'll try to hold on to that to the end of the race.
Look at this, Josh Thompson, he's up to 7th place now. He has got the whole world behind him though. Michael Evdoka, Chris Daines. Oh my goodness, Evdoka all sorts of squirrely under braking there, and he's still trying to slow the car down. Did an IMSA Sports Car Series race in this very car. Had a crash at Degner, in fact. Faced the whole field. Someone eventually hit me, and and the damage resembled pretty much of what Michael Evdoka's got to his the front left of his Ferrari so far, as this fight for 7th rages on, with Josh Thompson scampering up the road. Let's see if we can find that overtake again. This might be it. Oh, this was how Thompson got past Evdoka anyway. Obviously the car looks a bit wounded, and the Manxman is going to come through. A lot of grass taken on the inside there from Evdoka. The curb. Oh, God! Ooh. And I don't know if Evdoka appreciated or not. Thompson overshot the chicane. See, bless me, I've woken everyone up as he comes across the line. And Rushworth now up into 7th place as Daines, Stevens, Evdoka, and now it's Sindre Setsas set to work on a battle over 9th and 10th.
Yeah, it's not worth Evdoka fighting this one. May as well just let Setsas go, get back into the slipstream and try to follow him a little bit, because with that damage, he's got absolutely no chance. Even if he didn't have the damage, he would struggle to keep behind Setsas. He had a little bit of a difficult start, but he's only 2.5 seconds off Thompson still. Could still get a top 8, I think, out of this one. As we go back to this battle, McFarlane, he's struggled to keep up with Palmer, and he's still got Smith actually on his tail. Bunn also flying along right now. At last, that Bunn was 1.5 seconds faster than Paul Smith, and I think this might be the opportunity for the move. Smith with a little bit of a slipstream, you can just see him pulling ahead, and that may just end the chance for Bunn. Yep. Oh no, it's Smith. Oh, well, great save. Completely sideways on the entry there, and in the end he still managed to gain some time on McFarlane, who really fell offline.
New fastest lap of the race by Josh Thompson, a 55.22. As off the circuit goes Andy Shield, car 007, going grass trekking here through the S's. Not sure how this happened. Sharon Kaiser has crashed for the second time today. So too Rusty Laidler, so too Jazz Draycott. Something has gone on in the middle of the field, and it's another big one here at turn 1. And that is at least 3 cars involved. Jazz Draycott done again in race 2, just like he was in race 1. Here is a replay of what happened. Rusty Laidler in the CQR Tarkov car going into the first corner. Had this incident already started? No, it was a contact with a Ferrari. Might have been Lars van Rijn potentially, but then it all kicked off afterwards. And we will also look at how Andy Scheel ended up off the circuit. You can see the battle's going on in front of him. What is going to happen to the CQR Sim Sports Ford going into the first corner? On the brakes. Oh, loses the rear, and I have to say he did a good job of making sure it didn't spin, and decided that it was easier for him to go off as Carl Janssen now starts to tumble down the order. Something happened to Carl potentially. He's disappeared. And I am pretty reliably informed that it's not my internet connection. So, Carl Janssen, he looks like he might be done for race 2, Sam.
Yes, he has manually disconnected, so it's not a connection issue. Or it could be, to be fair. It may just be.
I think we might know why. This is a replay. This is what might have happened while we were looking at the wreck down at the first corner. This is Carl Janssen. Going through the hairpin, he gets absolutely launched and vaulted. He merges with a car, he's on his roof, and that is it. Michael Hall, potentially the guilty party there, but that has not gone at all well.
Yeah, that's, well, I said earlier on how, you know, one bad result in race 1 and it can ruin your day, and if you think Janssen was up in 2nd place, he was harassing Thompson for the lead only, what, 40 minutes ago, and now he's going to have a 25th and a DNF. Really disappointing for him. He's going to be way down the field in race 3 as well. By the way, a couple of questions on the YouTube chat. 49 drivers signed up for this event. I think only 48 took the grid.
Yeah,
so a great population in this.
Yeah, the only one we missed was Richard Warming, and he didn't take the start here. But yeah, 48 cars took to the start, as we see Michael Blake continue to apply some pressure to Ben Palmer, who's now in 2nd place. A lot of crashes occurring in this second race, and yeah, poor Carl Janssen in the Ford, who was making some decent progress, but probably not at the same rate as Josh Thompson is, or was. But yeah, then getting turned, literally turned up and turned around and put onto his roof. Not what he would have wanted, but Josh Thompson, here he is. His next target is Paul Smith. These two know each other well from their exploits in the BSRTC. Paul Smith loves a good cutback going through 130R. You can hear the Porsche as we go wheel to wheel through 130R. Paul Smith takes the outside line, he's back on the circuit, and Thompson makes sure that he covers the inside line so that the Yorkshireman cannot get up the inside going into the Casio Triangle. So that's Thompson up into 5th. 15 places gain now for the CQR Racer car. Next on his sights is Ross McFarlane. He is 9/10 of a second up the road.
Yeah, 2nd place looking really possible. He's still 6 seconds off the lead, and despite him lapping, I think he's got about 3/4 of a second on the race leader, as Smith is all kinds of sideways there for Smile Time Racing. Sets us trying to get involved as well, so Thompson's got to be pretty quick about this, as we maybe see Rayfield go for a move on Jacobs. Of course, Jacob had an issue for Beast Racing earlier on, but Jacobs having a pretty good run, a really good run. He's up 11 places. Good to see him out on the circuit in 23rd. Rayfield up 14 places himself. But so 2 drivers who didn't have fantastic race 1s really, yeah, coming back in race 2. As Rushworth just drops down on my screen. I think that's an error on my part. But yeah, Rayfield's yeah, just dropping back a little bit now. I'm sure he'll start another attack racing.
Pro-Am watch for you. You can see them. Michael Blake in 3rd. Then it's Paul Smith in 6th, and then the next Pro-Ams after that are Adam Hedgecock and Simon Underhill 19th and 20th. So this is the power of the reverse grid, that the Pro-Am cars can get up near the front, and as you can see with Paul Smith and I, sometimes stay there. But Josh Thompson is eager to get back on another podium. He's already been on one today, and he was on the top step of the podium there in race 1. First, he's got to get by the Ferrari of Ross McFarlane, who's guarding that 4th place. Thompson goes to the inside into 130R. round the outside. Very close to contact. Thompson's got the speed on the outside, but McFarlane has the inside line and the shorter line, but Thompson's going to say nuts to that. Round the outside he goes, but he's just not able to get the move done, but he's going to surely get a better straight line speed. McFarlane knows it. He's going to cover the inside line as we come down the front straight. Thompson ducks to the outside, and he should have the speed. He's alongside, he's got the racing line, and he's going to swoop round the outside, and that was a move that started all the way back at 130 yard. Josh Thompson up to 4th, and now he's got 1.8 seconds to close to Michael Blake in 3rd, Sam. Good move.
Yeah, that was a really good move at the turn 1. Lots of commitment needed, because if you just go a little bit wrong there, then it's easy to lose the rear end, because the rear end goes so light there. And if you go onto the onto the artificial grass as well, you're going off into Narnia. So that was really impressive there from Thompson to stick it round the outside. And I must say, this has been one of the best performances I think I've seen in this series so far this season. It's rare that a driver can go from about 20th on the grid to the top 5, but that's what Thompson's doing. But of course, it's about that consistency. And right now, if he can get a good race through, maybe just get a top 10, it would be a stellar day in the championship for him.
Reverse grid watch for you as well. Currently in P22 is Tom Jacobs for Beast Racing. In fact, if we do get a 22 reverse grid for race 3, as the battle here between Danes and Macaulay reaches new levels, then it will be a Beast Racing front row. As here we go, this is the battle over 16th and 7th, 15th and 16th, I should say. Lane O'Connor has jumped to the pits. Dion Phillips has also retired back to the pit lane as well. So problem for the Excite Racing car and Lane O'Connor driving for XVR Green. They haven't had the best run of things today, but this is a good battle in the midfield. A bit further up the field, Michael Evdoka continues to struggle. This time it's Christian Rose that's trying to get by. The Porsche using an unconventional line. They're going through 130 yard, but all he's got to do is probably bide his time, and the Ferrari is probably going to have to yield that 11th place. It's a good showing by Evdoka, considering there's many cars have been involved in issues, but Chris Danes is in issues, but he's been able to carry on and still maintain an 11th place finish so far.
Yeah, of course, he got used to driving a damaged car at the end of Sebring when he put it off into the wall. Was really struggling with his tyres on that day. Shouldn't be so much of an issue out there, despite the track being some 41 degrees Celsius. This was how Danes dropped it then. So, of course, many of the drivers will be familiar with the with the 17x instant limits. No instant limit in this series, which is I think very welcome, because quite often you can be unfairly taken out, especially when the drivers are quite aggressive. You've got to be to gain some positions out there. As Josh Thompson will he go for the inside here? Oh. It's a very late move, and well, Michael Blake had to be all on his mirrors there to realise that the CQR and Dustmaster Movano driver was going through. Thompson up into the podium, but well, that one I talked about aggressive driving. Well, that was the epitome of it.
Just trying to see if I could show you how that gap went down. It was about 1.8 seconds a moment ago, and Josh Thompson is now up into the podium positions. We had 20 cars reversed for race 2. He's been able to gain 17, and with just under 3 minutes to go in this one, he's now up into the podium positions again. Josh Thompson putting on a show here in the CQR race sub car. Sebastian Jobe, heard of him? He won all 3 races here in 2015 in the British Sim Racers Touring Car Championship. Don't think Thompson's going to be able to repeat that feat here in the World GT Championship, but he could definitely try and make sure that he gets 3 consecutive podium finishes, which will put him right back into contention in the championship. Sindre Setsas, Sam was mentioning him. Now he's trying to get past Paul Smith. Smith grimly holding on to that 4th position as we start the penultimate lap. The Ferrari looking to the inside and goes for it. Ferrari versus Porsche, and Paul Smith, who is having a stream of this race, the Race Spot TV commentator, not able to hold on there. And Sindre Setsas in the Corsim racing car. His teammate Carl Janssen in Strive today in race 2 has now been demoted down to 7th. Paul Smith might have just been hearing me, because he's now trying to launch a counter-attack here, but going through the S's, that is pretty difficult. And you can see from the gain graphic on the left-hand side how many drivers have, which drivers have done well from the reverse grid. Thompson, Setsas and Macaulay, Dan Macaulay, we haven't really spoke about him. 2 of the standout names there on that one. some of the losers in the top 20, Underhill and Shield. As I think Jerome Kaiser may have crashed again here. He had a big flip in race 1. What's going to happen this time in race 2? Might have seen this before somewhere. Through the first corner he goes. It seems to be a regular issue, and it seems to be the Ferraris that seem to be getting involved in that. And good spin turn, I have to say. Not too much grip on the grass, that must be said. And everybody sees Kaiser and he gets going again.
Yeah, had a couple of issues in race 1, didn't he, with the losing his bonnet relatively early on. Still got a decent result, and well, he'll be able to finish this race at least, but won't be much more than that. The turn 1 is so difficult with the rear end going so light, as I mentioned earlier, as we see Setsas and McFarlane. Setsas is going to go for it. He's been really clinical with his moves, but very safe at the same time. Maybe not quite as aggressive as Thompson, but I think he's done a really good job, and Setsas up into the top 5. And, well, this is going to be a really good day for him, I think, as long as, of course, he gets a good race 3. 2.5 seconds to catch up to Michael Blake, and then on the last lap. So I don't think that's going to happen for Sindre, but still more solid points for him. And that battle's just behind McFarlane, Smith, and particularly Stevens, very close behind, and also Hackerson and Bunn are very close to one another.
Palmer's off. That's going to elevate Thompson up to 2nd. Ben Palmer in car 1, CQR GT racing car, going off at the first corner. We saw Jerome Kaiser do it in this spot a lap ago, and he was running in 2nd. Thompson was closing the gap. Don't know if the pressure got to him, but we're going to find out what's going to happen here. Going through the first corner, CQR GT car turns in. Slowing down, everything going fine. Was it the curb that may have done it? Not too sure. Thompson does well to avoid him, and Palmer even loses 3rd place to Michael Blake. So Blake is set to get a podium finish here. A Pro-Am driver doing exceptionally well, and he could be about to take the final trophy on the rostrum as Paul Smith is dropping down the order. There's something kicked off here.
Got a bit of yeah, a bit of rear wing damage. Oh yeah, he's got a little bit of front end damage as well. So something's happened to Paul. All getting so this is how it happened. So yeah, you can see his car was absolutely fine at this point. Stevens was charging along. Has he gone for a move into the second part of the deck? Unfortunately not. No, it's Smith. He's lost it by himself, or no, it is Stevens. He's just up to that. Stevens with a fantastic 360. 10 out of 10 from the judges there. He has lost 1 position, although in overall he's maintained that position. Rushworth approaches the line.
Well, Jamie Rushworth is going to come through and take the victory here at Suzuka in race 2. Josh Thompson's going to take 2nd place. Michael Blake is going to be absolutely delighted with a 3rd place. The Pro-Am driver flashes the lights in celebration. Ben Palmer was just able to keep Sindre Setsas at bay. Look at this, Matt Bunn versus Ben Hackerson, neck and neck over the line. Paul Smith, despite getting pitched out of the way, similar to what happened to Carl Janssen earlier in the race, gets a top 10 finish. Battle here, Hedgecock, Underhill. It's going to be Underhill that's going to keep Hedgecock at bay. Hedgecock only losing the car on the exit there. It's going to be Underhill, the Pro-Am in the Nomad Sim Racing car, beating the boosted car. Boosted with a bit of a following on the YouTube chat as well tonight. Kaiser is in a drag race here into the Casio Triangle with Josh Rayfield. Ferrari versus Ferrari, a potential cutback. A few cars getting merged together there. A bit of grass trekking, contact, and it's over. For the 2nd time today, Jerome Kaiser is involved in a car flipping over on the front straight. These cars seem very easy to roll over, I must say. Kaiser takes 34th place at the line. Laidler going to follow him home in 35th. Is Josh Rayfield going to cross the line? Can he reverse it? Ronald Moons is 15 seconds away, I think. No, he's just passed him, in fact. Scott Malcolm is coming through the final corner. Rayfield might be about to lose 2 more places here, but there's the line, and he just beats Malcolm to 39th place in a dramatic finish near the back end of the field there. So,
yeah, absolutely. Rayfield will be furious with that one. And, well, when you're in that situation, when you're stranded in the middle of the circle, that's when you need a teammate to go barrel roll you across the line. Unfortunately, there was no one, there was no one on hand, but still a decent result. Really interesting battle. Actually, we just saw the end of it between Underhill and Hedgecock. It was ever so close between those two, nearly took each other out. Of course, that was for 22nd place, potentially reverse grid pole, but well, we'll find out what is the reverse grid pole in a few minutes, just after we go through the results.
Yeah, Jamie Rushworth returning to the pits. It was Josh in race 1, it was Jamie in race 2, both of them driving for CQR. It was CQR Race Hub that won race 1, it was CQR GT that's a victorious in race 2, and word out to this Immortal team as well for the victory in race 3. It was race 2 for the Pro-Am team. It was Smile Time in race 1. It was Simmortal here in race 2. A few punts to pass. Punted, potentially. Bit of a boosted pun in there. We haven't had them for a while. Yeah, 34th place. You'd think they were going for the race victory there. Potentially bigger picture needed there, some of the drivers saying. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that one as the cars return to the pits. Of course, one thing we haven't mentioned today, just before we get the results up on the screen, is the weather conditions. Race 1 is sunrise, race 2 afternoon, race 3 late afternoon. So I wonder if the track will be starting to glow a little bit of a yellow towards orange when we get started for the final race of the day. Let's bring you up the results then from race 2. The results are still messing about with us a bit, but they are correct in terms of positions. Jamie Rushworth wins, Josh Thompson second, a first and a second for him. He'll take that. Michael Blake in third, a fantastic podium for Simmortal. Capitalising with Ben Palmer spinning off in the first corner on the final lap of the race when it looked like it was going to be a second place for him. Fifth for Sindre Setsas, sixth for Ross McFarlane. 7th for Ben Hackerson, then Matt Bunn in 8th. Jesse Stevens in 9th. Him and Paul Smith colliding midway around the final lap, but it's Stevens that gets 9th, the American beating the Yorkshireman. 11th place for Christian Rose, 12th for Michael Evdoka, Miguel Freitas, a 13th place for the Portuguese with Daniel Macaulay in 14th, then Chris Daines in 15th, Jamie Ayres, the highest Welshman in the field, in 16th, and then Dave Baker recovering from the back of the grid after his errands in race 1. He manages to get back to 17th place there. Andy Shield finishes in 18th place. 19th for Steve Burke, then Tom Jacobs in 20th. 21st for Jake Blackhall, the Aussie. Then a quartet of Pro-Ams, Simon Underhill, Adam Hedgecock, Morgan Butler and Stuart Atkinson in the boosted car. Then Ben Gregory, 26th. Mark Woodhouse, 27th. The winner in the Pro-Am class in race 1. Lars Van Ryn in the boosted with Savage Gaming in 28th. Anthony Jacobs in 29th and Steve Lavalley in 30th. 31st is Michael Hall, 32nd is David White, 33rd Jason Rowe, 34th, excuse me, very nearly sneezed then, Joan Kaiser, bumping his way to 34th place with Rusty Laidler in 35th, Lee Woodburn 36th, 37th for Dan Ruzu, and then Ronald Moons, Josh Rayfield, Scott Malcolm finishing in 40th, Lee Deemer 41st, John Roberts 42nd, then Chaz Draycott, 2 consecutive races where he's been involved in issues, then Lane O'Connor, and more of the cars that had issues during the race. Dion Phillips 45th, Carl Janssen literally tipped and put onto his roof. The Swede finishes in 46th, something you'd see out of Rally Sweden, which is next week. Dave Janssen, the Belgian, 47th. Speaking of Belgians, Thierry Neuville will be racing in that. Mike Gray 48th, and Richard Warmingham didn't take the start. And as always, big grids here in the World GT, big races and some big crashes there as we rewind up the grid to have a look at this magic area here. If it's 22, it's going to be Simon Underhill on the pole with Jake Blackhall alongside him. But let's get the reverse grid wheel up now and we will spin it and see who's going to be on the pole for the third and final race of the day here at Suzuka Circuit in Japan. Just got to load up the wheel again and we will get it done here at Suzuka. Great to have you with us here on the iRacing Esports Network. And Penn Hackerson just pointing out that Thompson had overtaken three cars before he even accelerated away at the start of the race. Interesting. Rally Sweden is this weekend. Yes, it is this weekend, isn't it? God, I don't even know what day it is. Monday, isn't it? We've also got the Daytona 500 this weekend as well. Motorsport is coming back, and we're looking forward to it. But first of all, we've got the reverse grid to do, and we've got it ready for you. Here it is. And let's spin it here to find out who's going to be on the pole for race 3. a small one this time. You might even have to scroll back onto the previous page on the graphic. It's going to be 14. 14 cars reversed for the final race of the day here at Suzuka. And if we go back, I'll find the button, there it is. That's going to be Daniel McCauley on the pole, with Miguel Freitas second, Michael Evdoka third, Christian Rose fourth, Paul Smith going to be starting on fifth position on the grid for that one. So hopefully you've enjoyed what we've had so far tonight at Suzuka. It's definitely been action-packed, that must be said, and we're looking forward to the final of what the final race will bring. So join me and Sam after the break here on the iRacing Esports Network, and we'll get third and final race here at Suzuka underway. We'll see you in a few minutes. We're back for the final race of the day here at Suzuka Circuit in Japan. Hopefully you've enjoyed the action that we've had so far tonight. If you have, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe and turn on the post notifications as well by clicking the bell, and you'll be made aware of when we are live here on the iRacing Esports Network. Plenty of action as well to come, plus of course the NASCAR Pro Draft happened on this very channel a couple of weeks ago. What an event that was. Can't wait to see what it's going to look like when the series actually gets going. Cars just in their warm-up session at the moment. We were talking just before the break, Sam, about the conditions. We had sunrise, we had mid-afternoon, and now this is late afternoon. The sun slowly starting to sink in the sky, and when it finishes here, we may just have a bit more artificial light than natural light here. We'll wait and see.
Well, about the artificial light, I don't think that's a thing around this circuit. I don't think iRacing have added, you know, the light systems to it. So it's currently 5:38 in the evening, and what's the date? The 15th of May. And of course, this is southern. Is it southern? No, it is
northern
northern hemisphere.
Yeah,
it is northern. Yes. So yeah, of course, pretty near to the solstice. So not going to be too bad, but it'll be a nice picturesque way to finish the evening.
There you go, geography lesson here. Maybe even a bit of an astrology lesson as well in terms of northern and southern hemisphere and how the seasons work for you. Not that that will matter if you're Daniel McCauley. He's on the pole position courtesy of the reverse grid. Completely different form of science that. Miguel Freitas starting alongside him on the front row. A Portuguese and an English and a Britishman starting, or Britain I should say, on the front row. Then it's Michael Evdoka, then Christian Rose, Paul Smith starting in 5th place, then Jesse Stevens in 6th, Matt Bunn 7th, Ben Hackerson 8th, Ross McFarlane 9th, Sindre Setsas in 10th, Ben Palmer 11th, and Michael Blake is in 12th position as we can get the rest of the grid running through your screen. Now Josh Thompson starting in 13th place. He's already won one and finished second today in race 2. Could he get on the podium again in race 3? Safety car begins to slowly roll away. Steve Burke and Tom Jacobs there rounding up the top 20. A few more Pro-Am drivers there. Lars Van Rijn and Anthony Jacobs and Mark Woodhouse, a Pro-Am winner today in race 1. And some big names starting towards the rear. We'll see if Carl Janssen has made it to this session. I don't think he has. Only 45 cars have registered for this one. So not too surprised. I don't know if I can blame him really if he doesn't want to turn up for the final race. And starting at the back of the grid, it's going to be Mike Gray in 45th. Danny McCauley then, coming through the final corner. It's going to be CQR Sim Sports leading Miguel Freitas to the green lights. And we'll see when McCauley decides to go. He's not going yet. He's not going yet. He's going to wait to the green lights potentially. Now he goes. It's the latest anybody's gone. And look at what it's done in terms of the field. Oh, and it's caused what could have happened. Off goes a boosted car into the wall. Fortunately, it's just one car. And that was poor Stuart Atkinson, actually. So race 3 of the day is underway here at Suzuka Circuit. Good start from Ben Hackerson. He's already up 2 places. There is Paul Smith. He's lost 2 as we go through the S's. There's Josh Thompson in there somewhere. He's gained 1 spot. Ross McFarlane and Ben Palmer have already lost 4 places by the time we get to the S's. I wonder if that could be as a result of the very late green lights. A few of the cars potentially getting a run on. Potentially somebody as we go up through Dunlop Curve, and a good battle here between Chris Daines and Ross McFarlane, Sam, as we go towards Degner.
Yeah, you do not want to be side by side going into Degner, but to be fair to them, they've managed to stay resolute there as we've got White going very slowly out there. He's had a bit of a difficult day so far. And McFarlane way off the circuit there, and oh, he's spun it again, and he will not want to watch that one back on the broadcast. He'll be humiliated for that as Bunn. Well, Smith just ahead. He was miles off the circuit, I think. Absolute chaos as now we've got another car off, and that is it wasn't McFarlane, it was Shield, we believe.
There were
that's how it happened.
Yeah, a ton of crashes on the event viewer. Is it? Oh, yeah, it's a traffic jam. That's probably why they all came up as crash. They all had to grind to a halt. So that is what happened on the opening lap. Up the top of the hill we go then. It's Macaulay leading the way, second Christian Rose, third is Miguel Freitas. He's got Jesse Stevens for company though as we come through 130R. Chris Daines is dropping down the timing screen. Up the inside goes Stevens. Sent it there, did the American. And car 36 is up into P3 as they come around the final corner to complete the opening lap. It's Macaulay, Rose, Stevens, Freitas, Evdoka, then Hackerson, Smith, Bunn, Setsas, Thompson, and the rest of them as they come across the line to complete the opening lap. Whereas Thompson in all of this, he is there, he's right behind Sindre Setsas, two of the cars at the very front in race one. It's battle resumed between these two, and the opportunity for redemption here for Core Autosport after a nightmare of a race two. They'll be hoping to get some more points on the board here in race three, but they've got Thompson right behind them at the end of the opening laps though.
Definitely, and it will be interesting to see if Setsas really defends against Thompson, or whether he kind of just lets him go because, well, in one sense, of course, it might be better just to let him go because, well, he might take himself off in the future whilst trying to make some more moves. But at the same time, you don't want to lead it to Thompson in every single one of the races. So this will be interesting to see how Sindre deals with this. How can these guys get through the field? Not many moves currently going on. I think Smith and Bunn are quite close. Just ahead as Thompson goes for it. Down the inside of Setsas. He loves that move. It's the Kobayashi S overtake. And he's got the move down on Sindre Setsas. And that is really important. And you can see how close he is straight away onto the back of his teammate, Matt Bunn.
That was very near. I thought he hit him. I thought we heard contact as well. Doesn't look like too much damage as resulted from it. Oh, and Setsas sent it back up the inside. Anything you can do, he says. And Thompson gets a face full of Ferrari. Now he's going to be riled. These two are going to go at it now at the hill. This is what we've been hoping for all evening. Josh Thompson beats Sindre Setsas. Two drivers bidding for the championship. They're rubbing door handles as they go through 130R. They're even inventing their own part of the track. Off into the wall goes one of the CQR cars. That might cause absolute chaos behind. That was Matt Bunn. I think he's rejoined just behind Josh Thompson, in fact. No, there he is. That's his Matt Bunn. And he's been a bit of a stopper in the bottle there. He stopped Sindre Setsas and Josh Thompson from causing more chaos going into 130R then. But there were cars everywhere, Sam, going through 130R there.
Yeah, Setsas was mighty round the outside there, just went from absolutely nowhere to get past Matt Bunn, potentially an injured Matt Bunn now, and Thompson just about getting that move done, but that is not going to be over yet. What a duel between these two. This is what we want to see with this. We want to see a proper rivalry between these two drivers. They're going to be top two in the championship if it stays like this coming out of this round, and hopefully we'll see plenty more of these battles to the end of the championship. This is what happened to, well, this is how Hackerson got past Evdoka then, and another really good move around the outside. Hackerson at this point still hasn't got the move done. Evdoka will try to push him out, but the Ford has very much established that outside line. He's earned the right to be there, and he's managed to move ahead. So Evdoka falling back a little bit. Remember, he was race the winner at Road America earlier on in the season, but not quite having the same pace around this Suzuka circuit.
Quick check on the Pro-Ams for you. Paul Smith, as he was for the start of race 2, he ended up finishing second highest Pro-Am. He's currently leading the way in the Pro-Am chase, as down the order is Daniel Macaulay, because he's off at Spoon. What happened to the CQR Sim Sports car here? We'll see in a moment if he's going to lose another place, because here comes Ben Hackerson. Drag race. The Porsche now getting the speed because he took the widest line possible because he was off the circuit, and now the Ford has to slot in behind. That could also be a factor that the Porsche may just have slightly quicker straight line speed than the Ford, but for now it's the flat 6 leading the turbo, and a lot of locked brakes going through the Casio triangle, and I think Macaulay might just be about to be set up by Ben Hackerson as I throw it to Sam Fitzpatrick as we come across the line.
Yeah, going through now is Hackerson then. Oh, he's just behind, but we've seen the outside line and the inside line work well, but there you go, this time it's the inside. Easy ahead, Hackerson. There is Thompson, and Setsas just ahead. So Evdoka's still running in 6th place, I was being a little bit harsh to him earlier on, falling down the field. Oh, and now Palmer is falling down the field. He's had a really good day, has Ben Palmer, but this has certainly put a cork in his, well, in that metaphorical bottle. And yeah, Palmer spinning round. Seems as though it was an incident with the Northern Lights Racing car. He's tried to go around the outside there. Oh, he's just got on the AstroTurf. And that's what I was talking about earlier on. Obviously put off as well by the CQR driver just ahead. And that combination of factors has ended up him losing quite a few positions.
Danny Macaulay locking the brakes again. I think that was Christian Rose, I think, the Porsche there that we saw taking evasive action going through the first corner. Might have been actually David Baker. In fact, it was Baker. Apologies to Christian Rose for that. But yeah, that was Dave Baker that was going all sorts of wayward going through the first corner. Now this could probably be the metaphorical concertina, and it's ever slowly starting to get wound up a bit, because Danny Macaulay, here he is in 5th. Behind him is Michael Evdoka in 6th, who looks like he's sustained a bit of damage. No, the car's just fine, it's just a paint scheme. He's got Setsas right behind him though, and Josh Thompson keeping a watching brief. Setsas looking to the inside into 130R, and I thought he was going to go for a move that may have resulted in chaos. Thompson might though fancy his chances into the Casio triangle. They're going to split. They very nearly split Michael Evdoka, but what, oh dear, it's kicked off here. As Sindre Setsas resulting in a bit of contact. Around goes the Porsche. Paul Smith is off. He's going to try and spin turn it, is he? There's the Armco barrier. He's going to have to do a reverse turn, but he's got the whole field racing past him on the inside. He thinks about it, and he's going to have to wait for the whole field to go by. He's definitely watching the whole field go by. We can see there they all fly by, and it's going to be painful for him. But what an opportunity. A top 10 results goes begging for Paul Smith there.
Yeah, it all ends up with Hackerson, Macaulay, and then Setsas. So Setsas really lost out there. Must make some extra contact with Evdoka or something, and that really cost him a lot of time. Now Thompson's back onto his start. And these two, at least in this race, do not like each other. I think they are desperate to beat one another. Forget the percentages, forget the points. They just want to finish ahead. And currently 6th and 7th this battle. And it's allowed Macaulay to really pull away now, 1.75 seconds ahead. As just a little bit of a lock up as well for the drivers ahead. These two are undoubtedly going to catch up to the few drivers up the road. Of course, out in the lead, it's Rose and Stevens separated by about 1.5 seconds. That's the main battle for the lead. And Freitas, what a good job Freitas is doing, holding on to P3. He's really showing some good pace today. Qualifying, he was in the top 25, I believe, so he's clearly very fast. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to hold on to this 3rd place, because he's got 4 very quick drivers closing in on him.
Yeah, he's got Hackerson right with him now. He can just about see Setsas and Thompson in the background as well as they go through 130R. The speed that Hackerson carries through there, just not enough to get him up the inside. He might try and set him up through the final corner here. You can see the green lights on the door of the Ferrari indicating that Freitas is in 3rd position. He had that confirming you as well. Chris Daines is dropping down the order, and that's because he's off at 130R. The Northern Ice Racing GT Mega car has definitely crashed. See what happened here. He's trying to get past the Sim Auto car. Up the inside he goes. That's fine. He puts the power down on the AstroTurf and signs his own death certificate then. Off goes Chris Daines, the car 900 into the wall. And he's had to return to the pits.
Yeah, should still finish on the lead lap at least. As Macaulay, Hackerson's got ahead of Freitas then. And now goes Macaulay. Ooh, that would have been ambitious. He wants to get this move done right now because Setsas and Thompson are closing in on these guys. Not very quickly because Setsas, of course, does have a bit of damage and is defending from Thompson, but they are going to catch by the end of this race. So Macaulay really feels the need to get this one done nice and quick and then go chase after Hackerson. Will the hairpin be an opportunity? No. But that Porsche so far today, seemingly very quick down the straight. Of course, if anyone has any information on the balance of performance of these cars, please let us know what the strengths and weaknesses are. Certainly, from what I've seen, that Porsche seems a pretty lethal object down these long straightaways.
Well, I did get sent over a very handy document by Jeroen Kaiser, and he can shed some light on it for us. The GTE cars are used, obviously. In general, the Ford is the quickest, but the hardest to drive, and drops a bit more. So the Porsche's good through the corners, and we're on board with the Porsche here. Probably the Ferrari is the most stable and has the highest top speed, but not the best acceleration. But we're looking at the Ferrari here as we ride on board with the Porsche, going into the Casio triangle with Daniel Macaulay trying to chase down Miguel Freitas and Hackerson 9/10 of a second up the road. Very nearly sneeze again then. Setsas and Thompson will surely start to get closer to this. In fact, they've just about arrived as we come over the timing line. Quick little look at what's going on in the midfield. This is a nice battle. This is between Dion Phillips and Dave Baker, a resurgent Dave Baker who's trying to get back through the field. Dan Russo has apparently crashed again. He's currently down in 42nd place, the last car on the lead lap. So problems for him, but a decent scrap here as we rejoin the battle here with Michael Evdoka and Jamie Rushworth. And that is Evdoka getting by Rushworth back into 9th position. Another scrap between Fitztime Motorsport and CQI GT. Rushworth, of course, the race 2 winner earlier on, as we are now 12 minutes into the 20-minute race here. So just under 8 minutes to go as things start to get ever more closer in this battle for what is quickly becoming 4th rather than a battle for 3rd, as Hackison starts to ever so slowly stretch his leg.
Yeah, Freitas, if anything, just establishing that 4th place now. And this is how he'd like the order to be, as Setsas is going to have a great run now on Macaulay, who ran wide at the exit of the hairpin. Couldn't get the power down, because these cars do have traction control. But even then, it's going to really reduce your power output on the exit of a crucial corner. This is where you managed to get the move done. Setsas on Thompson earlier on through the second part of Spoon. Not the perfect exit, just getting a little bit of oversteer if anything, and that Ferrari just hasn't got the straight line speed. You can see the dents in that in the bonnet, as now going for 4th position is Dan Macaulay. Fantastic speed down the straights, and now going way off the circuit is Freitas. Can Thompson benefit from this one? He's going to try to go round the outside, as down the inside goes Setsas of Macaulay. Can Macaulay push him off? No, he cannot. And somehow Macaulay, after going side by side for 4th place, ends up back in 7th.
Remarkable. The speed that Macaulay had down the back straight as well. He literally must have had the rear wing set to nothing, because the way he closed in and very nearly got the move done on Miguel Freitas. Obviously nobody paying attention to the track limits there. They were all flying off all sorts of directions going through 130R, but it has resulted in Freitas staying in 4th. Setsas now is up in 5th place, and 6th is Josh Thompson with 14 minutes about to be elapsed here. It's still Christian Rose leading the way. Thompson up the inside going into Dunlop. Contact. Off goes Setsas. Rescues it. But Thompson is through into 5th. Setsas down to 7th in all that. Doesn't look like he's picked up too much damage. We're going to have to wait and see if he can close that gap back up again. But really caught him unaware then. Sam going up the inside going through Dunlop.
Yeah, he didn't want to let it go, but I think Thompson established that one, and Setsas tried to really take quite a tight line, but I think Thompson had the corner, to be honest, and Setsas just being forced off. But that could be the birth of a rivalry, which hopefully we'll see. Got plenty more rounds. Setsas should almost certainly be the championship leader coming out of this round, but of course he's going to be very close with Thompson and Rose right on his tail. And now Thompson, it's kind of cleared the way for him. Now just got Freitas to, Freitas to pass, and then a few more seconds up to Hackison. Or Freitas defend. He seems a little bit defenceless here as Thompson goes down the inside and up into the top 4.
There you go. He's got 5 minutes to close, 2.9 seconds to Ben Hackison. You can hear the growl of the Ford GT there going through the final corner. Thompson, he finished 1st in race 1, he finished 2nd in race 2. He will be eager to try and continue the trends with a 3rd in race 3. We'll probably hear from him after the race as well, as Sindre Setsas now lines up Daniel Macaulay. This is the fight for 6th and 7th. Did mention that the headlights were starting to have a bit of a stronger presence than the actual sunlight itself here as the night time closes in here at Suzuka. Tell you what, the gap for the lead is starting to close in a little bit, isn't it? If you can see from the intervals at the top of the screen, 0.4 of a second separating Christian Rose and Jesse Stevens. And we could be about to have another Porsche versus Ferrari battle on our hands. Following the demise of Paul Smith, the Pro-Am battle shapes up like so. It's Michael Blake leading the way there. I think Thompson's just got past Macaulay. He is. Where's Macaulay? In fact, where's Evdoka more like? Freitas, I should say. Freitas has been dropped by those two. Macaulay just about holding on. David Baker's gone off the track again. And I wonder if we can quickly just see what resulted in Miguel Freitas getting past. Here's a replay of it all. C-Class Sim Sports car from Macaulay here, chasing the Ferrari of Freitas. The Portuguese have been running up in third until very late on. See what happens. It's going to be what Thompson did to Setsas earlier. On the inside he goes. This time they don't make contact, unlike Setsas and Thompson, but that's how the move was done, and he got stuck on that outside, Sam, and it's resulted in him losing a few places there.
Yeah, it's a difficult balance because at one point you don't want to be kind of a little bit embarrassed and being overtaken at that corner. At the same time, of course, you can lose so much more if you try to stake it round. Setsas again struggling with that straight line speed after making contact earlier on. But he's so strong through the corners, of course, as he really is going to get a nice run on Hackerson. Oh, sorry, Macaulay, apologies.
There you go.
As Macaulay, will he defend going into turn 1? You know what, he might just give the inside to Setsas, who's so strong on the brakes going into turn 1, can carry so much momentum, so controlled, as we've learned that Ferrari may be the easiest car to drive, and well, he's got that one done with ease, back up into the top 5.
Thompson last time around was about half a second, about 3 tenths of a second quicker than Ben Hackerson, trying to big it up. 2.2 seconds is the gap between them, with just over 2 minutes to go. This gap though, this battle's only just starting, I believe. We'll see what happens here between Rose and Stevens as we get towards the latter stages of this one. See if we can get the gaps up to show you how this gap has evolved over the course of the race 3 here. There it is. It was up as high as 1.2 seconds at one point. Now down to 0.4 as we get closer towards the end. The Ferrari, as we mentioned, is not too good coming out of the corners in terms of the acceleration. But when it gets to the straight line speed sections of this Suzuka circuit, which there aren't many to be fair, then it can really stretch its legs and cause the Porsche some trouble. But how much trouble is it going to cause them? Because when we get to the line, we're going to be starting the final lap of the race here. Final lap of the race meeting as well, in fact. And it's either going to be a Porsche or it's going to be a Ferrari. It's going to be on the top step of the podium here in the third and final race of the day at Suzuka. But which one's it going to be? Is it going to be Christian Rose or is it going to be Jesse Stevens, the American?
One more lap to go for these drivers. Stevens really losing a little bit of time to 130R. And that might just be it. Rose not, well, to be fair, he carried a lot of speed on entry. But you can see that gap a little bit smaller, 3.5 tenths of a second, maybe going into 3 tenths. Could this be his last chance of the race, Stevens? Is it going to have to be a Raikkonen-esque move? Well, I don't think he's close enough, unfortunately. And, well, he may have to go for a move maybe into the final chicane. This is where he's so strong, actually, is Stevens. He can get really close to this part of the circuit and then just seems to drop back in the mid part.
See, he's using every single last curve of this Suzuka circuit through the S's to try and close the gap. You can see movement in the Pro-Am battle. I think that was Michael Horgane past Tom Jacobs, so all up to 14th place there in the closing stages of this one. Means that it means now that Tom Jacobs is almost within the clutches of Simon Underhill. So once we get these guys over the line, this battle for third place in the Pro-Am category is really going to be something to watch indeed, as Thompson's dropping down the order. Josh Thompson has spun on the exit of Dunlop, and what has happened to cause this? Thompson, who was vying for a I'm trying to get it up here, but instead I'm just looking at Sindre Setsas constantly. Here it is. This is going through Dunlop curve. Inside curve, fine. Oh, a wheel on the grass, and then even more wheels on the grass, and then it spins. But meanwhile, this is it. A third of a lap to go. What a race it's been. What a race meeting it's been. Off goes Jesse Stevens. That might be his chances of the win gone unless he sends it going into 130R or maybe even into the Casio triangle. The gap is coming down, to be fair. It's down to 2 tenths. It's all going to be about who can take 130R fastest. Tell you what, Christian Rose was pretty good through that. Stevens closing right up under braking, but there's just nothing he can do. Through the final corner, over the curbs, through the final corner, onto the pit straight. It's going to be a second race win of the day for CQR Race Hub, but it's going to be Christian Rose that wins it. Jesse Stevens second. Ben Hackerson is going to come around to complete the podium. What a result for those guys. Michael Blake is going to come through the final corner. He was the highest Pro-Am in race 2. He got a podium there. He's going to get a top 10 here in race 3. Flashes the lights. He's delighted. 2 Pro-Am wins in a day for Michael Blake. He's going to head home that class. And here is that insane battle for the rest of them. Underhill, Jacobs, Thompson in the end, right at the back of that group. Here's Ben Gregory. Him and Mark Woodhouse are separated by just a third of a second. It's going to be Woodhouse that gets 19th place. Steve Lavalley, he is pretty close for company. A tenth of a second or so just between him and Jamie Ayres. And here is one of... Oh, car off, it's Danes! Chris Danes has crashed. Is he going to try and reverse? No, he isn't. Oh, that is a brave man indeed as he spins in front of the whole field. And what happened to cause that? Because at a moment in time, when that happened... Oh. Well, there's Kimi Räikkönen getting lost to Interlagos, and then there's that. Chris Danes trying out the West layout pit, I think they're going... Oh, and then he pays the price with a trip to the tyre barrier. Shades of I believe Sharon D'Ambrosio we did that at Suzuka back in 2011.
Yes, not the end of the day that Chris Danes wanted. And, well, I'm sure he'll be back at Monza. And, yeah, we'll not want to see that one again. What a great day of racing once again, though, of course. And it's interesting that Thompson literally drove, I think a good 60 minutes of perfect driving, and then it was just that one mistake which has plummeted him down the order. He may not even be second place in the championship anymore. It really does give the boost back to Sindre Setsas and Christian Rose as well. And just that consistency he maybe needs to work on. But what performance that was from Christian Rose. So resolute in defence. Did not make a single mistake. And really, it was... really, Stevens never really got close to making the overtake.
There we go. As the cars head back to the pits, can bring you the final results from the final race of the day here at Suzuka in the World GT Championship. Just 0.2 of a second in the end between Christian Rose and Jesse Stevens. And in third for Ben Hackerson. Fourth for Sindre Setsas. The Norwegian will be pretty happy with that. Daniel McCauley rounds out the top 5 in a CQR Sim Sports car. Miguel Freitas, the Portuguese, may have been on the podium for a while, but the car 999 will be pretty happy, I reckon, with a top 6 finish. Matt Bunn, 7th, despite going off the track and giving us a bit of a heart attack when he was battling with Thompson and Setsas earlier. Jimmy Rushworth in 8th, Jake Blackhall in 9th. A consistent evening for the Aussie there. Michael Blake in 10th, the highest again. 2 out of 3 races tonight for him. Michael Evdoka finishing in 11th, 12th for Steve Burke, then Michael Hall, Tom Jacobs and Simon Underhill there, 2 Pro-Ams. Then Josh Thompson in the end finished 16th. Someone saying on the YouTube chat, karma for what he did to Setsas earlier on. Except it was 10 times worse. Oh, yeah, 10 times worse for Thompson, that spin. Rusty Laidler, 17th. Adam Hedgecock finishing in 18th place. Then 19th for Mark Woodhouse, then Ben Gregory. Dion Phillips in 21st. Dave Baker will be on the flight out of here as we speak, I think. It just hasn't been his evening here at Suzuka. Then Jason Rowe, Lane O'Connor, Steve Lavalley, Jamie Ayres, the Welshman in 26th. 27th for Lars van Rijn, and Ronald Moons finishing in 28th, the Belgian. 29th for Ross McFarlane, 30th for Ben Palmer, car 1. Another spin at the first corner for him today. Took him out of a podium in race 2, and it set him back here in race 3. Andy Shield 31st, then Paul Smith. He had to see the whole field go by him and his small-time racing car. Then John Roberts, David White, Lee Woodburn, Scott Malcolm finishing in 36th place. Lee Deemer finishing in 37th. Chaz Draycott managed to finish on the lead lap in race 3 there, but was over a minute behind in the Beast racing car. Then, oh God, I've gone too far. Then it's Chris Danes and Anthony Jacobson. And then at the back it's Dan Rusu. Stuart Atkinson 2 laps down. He was the car that was off before we even got to the green lights when the field all bunched up. And it was Josh Rayfield and Mike Gray, both 11 laps down to complete the evening here at Suzuka. Right then, I believe we do have drivers waiting to talk to us, as I'm just trying to find the interview button here on the overlay as we go to the Discord and see who's waiting to talk to us. We've got a abundance of drivers. We will start with our race 1 winner in Josh Thompson, I believe. So we'll get him up. It's been an eventful evening. When is it ever not an eventful race meeting for Josh Thompson? He joins us now. Josh, first of all, well done on the win and the second in race 2. You were going for the third there in race 3, but Dunlop curve seemed to be the highlight, and and a bit of a sting in the tail for your evening. Tell us about it all, really.
Yeah, that was it was unlucky. I just dipped a wheel, and there it pulls you off the track. Pulled me off the track, tried to get back on the track, and as I tried to get back on the track, it just snapped around. So annoying, because I seem to not have any luck in race 3 anymore. So I had a good first and second race. Race 3 was looking good once again, just like Watkins, just like Road America, and then, yeah, that happened. So I'm a bit miffed. Well, I can't really blame anyone but myself.
It was a debatable. I thought it was a good move, to be fair, going in Dunlop against Setsas. Some of the people on the YouTube chat didn't think otherwise, but it was a good one. You caught him out by surprise, and he ended up getting sent onto the gravel there.
Yeah, I just went for it. He did a fair move on me as well, but something similar into Spoon. Dived it, then going down to 130R, I was literally being shoved onto the grass. So I'm like, I obviously went for it, didn't mean to push him that far, but obviously there you just dip a wheel like happened to me, you just drag off or spin. So obviously I wasn't just going to lie down after getting shoved off a little bit in the 1-4.
It was pretty close in 130R just before that as well, wasn't it? With Matt Bunn going off the circuit. We thought he was going to go off and cause chaos. Somehow he didn't. Just looking at the replay back there of the Setsas collision. But race 2, that was a bit more successful. You were able to get back up to second place, considering it was one of the biggest reverse grids we have with 20 cars.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's just a lot easier. Obviously now coming through the field, even though it's now I'd say a bit harder. Even though before it was like 30 and 40s, there was a lot more of a speed gap. Now you're around the people you've always been racing. So obviously you have to be a lot smarter in race 2. Obviously I got a good start in that one and just managed to pick my way through off the start quite nicely, getting that perfect launch. But that's a trait of this new the new rule for the season. It's just made the racing a lot more strategic than before.
And next week we go to Monza. The straight line speed is going to be crucial around there. And how's the Ford going to go around there? It's probably one of the quickest cars we've got.
Since the weight, no. Since they did the little BOP, we had a 10 kg on, which isn't a lot, but there's something they've done with the car as well on top of that, which has made it a little bit slower than the Porsche and the Ferrari in a straight line. Obviously, in this race and stuff like that, you can't tell with people with damage, but when you back-to-back them, you can tell. But I know I had a good set there for the Pro Series. I know the core guys will be in the exact same boat. They'll have a good setup on the car, even though, well, it's mainly Carl for the Ford, Sindre not so much because of the Ferrari, but they also have a good set. So hopefully it can make amends there and get on with it, really.
Cool. Did you race the Bathurst 12 hours on Saturday? I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah, well, we won't then. Before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah, first off, the admins, they do a fantastic job with the series. Like behind the scenes, the media, all that. Like we can't seeing how much it's grown since season 2, season 1. It's fantastic. You guys have been loyal for broadcasting it. It's been awesome all the way through. Again, I'll be looking back tonight. Everyone at CQR and Race Up. And lastly, mainly everyone at Movano, especially Dion for helping me get the setup sorted for this week.
Great, well done on the win. I think it's thrust you back into championship contention. I'm just refreshing.
It would have been. I think I would have possibly jumped to second if I finished 4th. Yeah, it could have been a bit better though, couldn't it? So.
Yeah, you're 42 points behind. I think, if you got that 4th or maybe even 3rd, it could have been less than that. But still, we're only a third of the way through the season. So plenty of time for it to...
Yeah, exactly. Anything can happen.
Yeah, plenty of time for it to go south at Monza, potentially. I didn't say that. Well, yeah.
You've jinxed it now.
Oh, there you go. Maybe it'll work the other way. Who knows? Josh, as always, well done on the first and second. And yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us. And yeah, best of luck next week at Monza.
Cheers, guys.
Well, there's one side of the story in Josh Thompson. We'll now bring in the other side of the story in Sindre Setsas. I'm going to hand the responsibility over to Sam Fitzpatrick to talk us through that one. Sindre Setsas joins us now.
Yeah.
Yes, and Sindre, despite you not winning a race today, I think it's safe to say you were the winner overall. You scored the most points, I believe, a second, a fifth, and a fourth, I believe. So you must be really pleased with that.
That was a good points all overall. The car wasn't the greatest. I struggled a lot in that middle race with 42C. That was really hard with the Ferrari. It's just so soft. It's just, yeah, hot temps is not where it's good. But yeah, race 3 was the most chaotic race so far this season, and then yeah, race 1 was all right.
Yeah, definitely. In that race, everything kind of kicked off. You and Josh had a really good battle. Were you particularly keen to keep him behind?
Yeah, obviously he's a big contender in the championship. It all kind of kicked off with him hitting me out of line at the hairpin, and then I just decided I'm gonna answer back with the same coin, and then like just I was made a move into spoon, no contact. I was ahead into the 130R, and he was on the outside. He can't really expect to hang it around the outside when he's behind, and then going into Dunlop, he just hits me straight off the track. So it just seems like some people just can't be able to overtake people without being clean. I know I might have been a bit aggressive, but it was clean at the end of the day. This is kind of a bit over the line, not too much, but yeah. I'm sure there will be protests here and there, flying forwards and backwards between all drivers tonight.
Yeah, I think so. Certainly see your perspective on it. And next up, we go to Monza, which, if anything, should be a circuit which suits your car. We've heard the Ferrari is good with the top-end speed and through the slower corners as well, so you must be feeling quite positive about that.
Yeah, Ferrari's good around Monza, and I'm just going to confirm, Josh, yes, I do have a good setup for the Ferrari at Monza, not only the Ford.
Well, it should be great to see you out there. I'm sure you're going to keep up your very strong title bid. Before we let you go, Sindre, anyone you'd like to thank?
I want to thank everyone at Core Sim Racing. I want to thank Carl for racing with me in this, and you guys for putting the show on.
Thanks, Sindre, and we'll see you in 1 week's time.
Yeah, see you.
Sindre sets us there. We'll move on to our race 3 winner, Christian Rose, who now joins us now in the interview room. There he is. Christy, well done.
Oh.
Sorry for quickly dragging you up there if you were mid-conversation, but first of all, we've got to congratulate you on your race 3 win. You had to soak up a bit of pressure towards the end from Jesse Stevens, but the Porsche did good and it got you the win.
Yeah, no, really pleased. First win of the season after a few podiums. Jesse was super fast in that final race. You know, whatever I tried to do, I just couldn't get rid of him. He was, I think a few more laps and he probably would have made a move and won the race for himself. But, it was really good fun racing tonight. Actually, had some really good battles. So yeah, fantastic stuff.
It looked like it was pretty close in terms of the final part of the lap. That seems to be where Jesse would close up. But then through the S's in the middle part, the Porsche would stretch its legs again.
Yeah, I was quite glad there was a few twisty bits with a few traction zones. I was really struggling out of the final chicane, and I just was never able to get a good run out of there. So always maybe a bit nervous heading into turn 1, especially with him being so close behind in the slipstream.
Moving back a bit in the evening to race 1, it looked like it was going to be you and Thompson getting a 1-2, but then the core team managed to gate crash that party towards the end, and it got a bit lively.
Yeah, I always relish a chance to race Sindre. He's a super quick driver, really good racer. My pace just fell off a cliff towards the end of that first race, and I thought, if I try and hold him up, I'm going to bring a load more people into this fight, and I don't really want that. So I thought, okay, if I just let him go, I'll just follow him home, take the P3, take the points, because consistently good finishes are what make championships, and that's what we're at. That's what we're aiming for.
Well, speaking of that, looking at the championship now, you have dropped down to 3rd place, but still, you're only 4 points away from your teammate in Josh Thompson, and as we were saying to Josh earlier, it's just a third of the season gone. Monza next week, though, Cathedral of Speed and all that. How do you think the Porsche's going to fare around there? Sindre, who we were just talking to before, said that the Ferrari would be on pace, of course, with its top-end speed, but how's the Porsche going to fare around there?
Hopefully we'll be up there as well. Traction zones, fingers crossed, will be nice for us. I think we're really going to be looking at making a lot of our time in the middle part of the lap through the Lesmos and through Ascari. I think we're going to maybe be 1 or 2 mile an hour down top end, but once you're amongst the pack and racing, and anything can happen.
Great. Well, before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Yeah, no, just first of all to you guys. You do a fantastic job with the streams. Everyone involved in the championship and everyone at CQR.
Great. Well, well done on the win. Yeah, as you said, first win of the season, and it's making the championship go along quite nicely now. So we'll see what you can do next week at Monza. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Christian Rose there. We'll move on now to Michael Blake, 2-time Pro-Am winner here today in race 2 and race 3. He'll be pretty happy with that. Michael Blake, he joins us now. Michael, well done. Yeah, hello. 2 wins tonight in the Pro-Am class, and that's really helped you in terms of the Pro-Am driver standings. It's sent you right to the top.
Has it? I haven't seen them yet, but yeah, I'm thrilled with tonight. It's I don't quite know how I've done it. I hate this track normally. I just thanks to Lee for the setup. I don't really know what else.
Race 2 in particular, not just a Pro-Am win, but a rostrum as well overall in 3rd place. Must have been pretty exciting being at the front of the field in the thick of the action at the front there in the early going.
Yeah, I thought to myself, if I can just get a good start and let it get single file, I'll let the fast guys go as they come to me, and try and lose as little time as possible just to stay ahead of Paul, who was second in AM at the time, and Jamie got by, and then next car come by, and then they sort of stopped catching up. Ben Palmer come by as well, and then I was watching the relative, and they weren't closing, and luckily Ben went off at the last lap, so I managed to get back into 3rd. But yeah, I was quite surprised with the pace there.
And then in race 3, a similar situation to race 2. In fact, Paul Smith was at the head of the Pro-Am field, and then obviously he had his spin going through the final corner, and then you were able to benefit again and come around for another strong result.
Yeah, I just tried to keep it clean in that one, and quite a few cars got past in that one. But I don't know what happened to Paul. I didn't see it start. I just saw him going off to the right. I don't know if he got tagged or just got on the grass on exit. But I feel sorry for him because he drove really well tonight.
Monza next week then. How's the Porsche going to fare around there? We spoke to a number of drivers just afterwards. We spoke to Sindre, who's obviously going to be behind the wheel of the Ferrari, and Christian Rose was pretty confident about the traction zones for the Porsche. Do you reciprocate that view as well? Do you reckon that's going to be where the Porsche's going to be at its best, coming out of the zones where you need those wheels on the deck?
Yeah, I hope so. The Porsche's been pretty good like that most of the season, but in some of the tracks we have found this season, we do struggle on straight line speed. So it's probably going to even itself out, and I don't know, it should be pretty close.
Great, well done. And before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anybody?
Drive Doctors and Dragon Internet, our sponsors, and Immortal, obviously, you guys for the great broadcast, and the admins, and for all the hard work they do put in this.
Great, well done on the evening tonight. A 3rd place trophy overall, and 2 Pro-Am wins as well, and the championship lead too. So pretty good evening as far as all's concerned. And yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us tonight.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you next week.
Michael Blake there. And what all that's left to do, Sam, is round out the evening, and a pretty good one here around Suzuka. Obviously, we had the week off and the Enduro race before that, but we're back to the 3 20-minute sprint races, and they've well and truly delivered here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw a lot of feisty driving, particularly in that race 3. Hopefully, yeah, certain rivalry has certainly been born out there. And just this championship keeps on twisting and turning. You just cannot count on what's going to happen in each race. And of course, once again, 3 different winners. We're kind of accustomed to that in this race because it is so competitive. And yeah, I think Monza is going to be more the same. I think it's going to be even more craziness. Of course, that turn 1 on lap 1 is going to be crazy. And also the slipstream effect through the race is going to not allow the race leader to pull away, I imagine. So I'm certainly looking forward to that one. I'm sure you are as well, Adam. And yeah, bring it on.
Can't wait. Well, yeah, we'll be back this time next week, 8 p.m. Just after 8 p.m. GMT for that one. Thanks to everybody that's watched and joined in the conversation on the YouTube chat. Really appreciated that. And yeah, make sure to give the iRacing Esports Network a subscribe and a like. And make sure to turn on the post notifications as well, so you know when we are live. My thanks to Sam Fitzpatrick for joining me as always for this one. It's truly been an entertaining one. And we will be back this time next week, when the series heads to the Cathedral of Speed here, or over in Europe, I should say, at Monza. So from all of us here at Apex Racing TV on the iRacing Esports Network, bye for now.